The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Volvo. Looking to sell your Volvo? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation.
It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard on a big day of Scottish Premiership action. Celtic are at Kilmarnock first up as they look to regain top spot from Aberdeen. Rangers have 2 positive results in a row. Can they make it 3 with the visit of Hearts to Ibrox? And it all comes on the back of a Saturday which saw Hibs lose again to stay bottom, with big wins for the likes of Motherwell, St Mirren and Dundee United. I'm Gordon Duncan, and joining me in the studio for the next 6 hours is Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
Aberdeen passed their test of character last night with flying colours after that 4-1 win over Dundee, and now it's Celtic and Rangers who go into the examination hall. Celtic had what Brendan Rodgers described as a generational win over RB Leipzig in Europe on Tuesday. Today he wants an inspirational win over Kilmarnock in Ayrshire so that he can go back above Jimmy Teelan's side. Rangers now a mammoth 12 points behind Aberdeen, so anything other than a win for Philippe Clement's side against Hearts at Ibrox today is a disaster. But it's been 10 years since Hearts last won a league game at Ibrox, and last season's top goal scorer Lawrence Shankland is this season's high profile flop. So I can confidently, even the worst tipster in the world can confidently tip a Rangers win at Ibrox, and I'll stay here until 8 o'clock to prove to you that I'm right, Mark.
Oh, well, I can't wait to spend all these hours alongside you, Hugh, and wait for you to be proved wrong somewhere along the line. I'm sure it'll be coming. But some interesting fixtures this afternoon. Always intrigued when any team, Celtic or Rangers, go to Rugby Park. Now, Celtic dealt with it perfectly well at the end of last season with a 5-0 victory, and they dealt with Kilmarnock on opening day of the season with a 4-0 victory as well. Will it be the same today? I wonder what the team lineups will hold for Brendan Rodgers and for Derek McInnes. And then on to Ibrox. Can Rangers take their form from midweek? I thought they were good for 90 minutes midweek against Olympiacos. Can they bring that form back to Ibrox and beat a struggling Hearts side? I fancy them as well, Hugh. But a good day ahead. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, a terrific afternoon of football. You can't ask for better. They say about Super Sunday. This is what it's all about, Gordon. The 2 big teams in Glasgow, one going down to Kilmarnock, one at home to Hearts. I think we'll get plenty of action, plenty of talking points.
Strap yourselves in, we are here for the long haul. 8 o'clock on a Sunday night before you get rid of us, but with good reason. Plenty big games to look back on from yesterday, of course, and we will do that in the not too distant future. And then 2 huge games, Kilmarnock against Celtic. Can Celtic regain top spot from Aberdeen? And then over to Rangers and Hearts, both in Thursday night European action. Will there be a hangover? How will they respond? Hearts need the points at the bottom, and my goodness, Rangers need them to push at the top as well. You are invited, encouraged, call it what you will, to stay in touch throughout the afternoon on Twitter at Clyde SSB. Send us messages with whatever is on your mind, and of course when the time is right I'll give you the nod. You can pick up the phone and join in with us. A 6-hour special on a Sunday here on Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Let's get stuck right in. Team news from Rugby Park. Here's Gabriel.
Yes, Gordon, let's start with Celtic in second place, somehow looking to get back on top with a win today. Brendan Rodgers makes 2 changes from Tuesday's win in the Champions League. Cameron Carter-Vickers is not risked on the AstroTurf surface, and Kyogo Furuhashi drops out as well. In come Adam Ida up top and Liam Scales at the back. So the 11 is as follows: Kasper Schmeichel in goal, Alistair Johnston, Liam Scales, Austin Trusty and Greg Taylor at the back. It's Callum McGregor, Reo Hatate and Arne Engels, the same midfield 3 from Tuesday night, and Nicholas Kuhn, Dazen Maida on the flanks with Adam Ida through the middle. Subs: Sinisalo, Baye, Kyogo, Yang, Forrest, Bernardo, Ralston, McCowan and Welsh. What about the hosts? Well, Kilmarnock is just 3 changes for Derek McInnes' side from last weekend's loss at Dundee. Stuart Finley's missing for a lengthy period through injury. Danny Armstrong also misses out altogether. Bruce Anderson drops to the bench. In come Joe Wright, Liam Donnelly and Marley Watkins. Looks like it's going to be that 5-3-2 formation from Kilmarnock that we've seen very often over the last few seasons. Robin McCrory in goal, Lewis Mayo, Robbie Dees and Joe Wright as the back three, Matty Kennedy and Corey Ndaba wing backs, David Watson, Liam Donnelly and Brad Lyons at the middle of the park, Kyle Vassell the captain and Marley Watkins up top. O'Hara, Burrows, McKenzie, Mackay Stephen, Murray, Cameron, Anderson, Polworth and Bainbridge are the substitutes.
Plenty to get our teeth stuck into. Mark Wilson from the Celtic team. We'll get to that in just a second. When you assess Kilmarnock, Gordon, I guess you've kind of seen the best version of them last season and what can happen when Celtic aren't at it and Kilmarnock are. Celtic lost there last season, early in the season. By the time Celtic go back to try and wrap up their title, they've got a swagger about them. They really know what they're doing. They blow Kilmarnock away. So two sides, and I suppose Brendan Rodgers will be hoping it's the latter and Derek McInnes the former.
Yeah, I was at that game. I thought second half when Derek tweaked one or two things, they were terrific and deserved to beat Celtic on the day. This is a different Celtic outfit. It's turning up at Rugby Park, especially full of confidence after the other night, the midweek. You look at two changes, it shows you Brendan Rodgers is giving Kilmarnock every respect, and rightly so, because you look at that Kilmarnock side, there's danger in there. The two wide areas, two wing backs. You look at the two centre forwards, they'll be a real handful. It's all about defending for Kilmarnock. There'll be a threat at set pieces. They're a very big, strong, physical team, but they can also play. Let's not take that away from them. I think this is a cracking game today.
I think Brendan Rodgers clearly believes that Adam, Ida and Rugby Park were made for each other. So Kyogo Furuhashi goes to the bench. He's not messing about today, Brendan Rodgers. I think the close proximity of the international break has helped with regard to team selection, because he's putting out what he believes to be his strongest 11 for this game, in the belief that the players will get 2 weeks to recover. So this is a proper Celtic team. This is not like the Falkirk Cup tie where he made 6 changes and then had to go and get the heavy artillery off the bench to win the game, or the Dundee match at Celtic Park in the league where he made the same 6 changes, didn't work for him, brought on the heavy guns again. He's gone with the heavy guns from the start this time.
Yeah, Mark, especially when one of the changes is clearly forced. We said over the last couple of days there was no Cameron Carter-Vickers or Austin Trusty at training on Friday, so you suspected that there would clearly be a high chance of an issue there. Carter-Vickers the one who misses out. Trusty stays in alongside Liam Scales, and thereafter, as Hugh says, it is just that, it's that nod that they've done this before at Rugby Park, and Adam Ida seems to work there, maybe a more direct option. But Hugh's right, isn't he? Absolutely no rotation apart from that.
Yeah, a show of strength, I think, from the manager. And people will see a show of strength as in you've got a huge squad and you can rotate and you bring in other personnel that do the job. But this is a different show of strength to show that these players, this group of players that played on Tuesday night and gave so much, can go again. And Hugh's right, there's an international break coming up that a couple of them may get a rest, others will have to go around the world and play for their international sides. But he has got his eye firmly fixed in Kilmarnock. Now I don't think there's any surprise with it because of the job he did back in April, was it? There he fits right in. And to manage Cameron Carter-Vickers, I thought that was an important one. If Trusty was anywhere near fit, you play him. I don't think you can risk Carter-Vickers. He's too important for the season. It's a long-term issue he's going to have, so you don't want to play him in Astro at all. So it's the right decision. Trusty's proved himself fit. He goes in, Scales in alongside him, no problem in the back line.
You could pick any one of them really, Gordon, in terms of who came through the other night with flying colours, because there were options. Rio Hitati obviously got singled out for praise, as did Callum McGregor. Interesting that midfield three is kept the exact same, especially because there is scope there. Luke McCowan is deserving of some minutes. Paolo Bernardo's certainly worthy of some minutes, so quite telling that Brendan Rodgers has gone the same three.
I've got to be honest, Gordon, I think he's looked at this fixture. You asked a question yesterday, is it still classed as a difficult fixture down at Rugby Park? I think Kilmarnock's starting to find a little bit of form. I think they'll like this game today. So I'm not surprised he's went with me strong midfield there. I thought McGregor was magnificent the other night, but Hitati for me was just on another level. And then you take into the consideration, the star man, Kuhn. So he's went with the big hitters. There were 2 changes there. I was expecting them. I didn't think Kyogo would start a game, and I didn't think obviously Carter Vickers for the reason Mark's touched on. But that's the strongest 11 possible. As I say, Derek McInnes will fancy it. He'll have his style, he'll have his plan. He's very well organised. If he can get the right service to the 2 big lads up front, they're a real handful. I like Kennedy in the wide areas a while. He can get in good deliveries. And young Watson is a star in the making. That's why I think it'll be a real good game.
And Hugh, arguably the biggest headline grabber from the other night would be Nicholas Kuhn, because he got the 2 goals. You ate your humble pie on him yesterday, which was very magnanimous of you, having doubted him last season. But clearly he's now at that level, isn't he? I know there's a long way to go, but he's probably already knocking on the door of that consistency that's really exciting the Celtic fans, and making him an absolute standout to play in the strongest 11.
Yeah, for the money paid for Nicholas Kuhn, he now looks bargain material. And inevitably, when you play Champions League and you do as well as he did against a Bundesliga side in midweek, inevitably the transfer speculation begins. English Premiership team Brentford mentioned in association with Nicholas Kuhn over the weekend. He's just a star turn now. And Kilmarnock, although they haven't lost at Rugby Park this season, the loss of Danny Armstrong and Stuart Finlay cannot be minimised. I don't think they're 2 very, very good players for Derek McInnes. Celtic don't want to fester for a fortnight. They don't want to go from the absolute high of beating RB Leipzig to the low that would be the loss of points at Rugby Park. You have to fester for a fortnight because of the international break. I think Brendan Rodgers is determined to go into that break on a high, on top of the league, along with Jimmy Thielen and Aberdeen.
What have we learned, Mark, in terms of how you navigate this challenge of going to Kilmarnock? Because we talk about this stuff all the time, particularly when Rangers go there as well, because they went recently and struggled. In that last game where Celtic went there and won 5-0 so convincingly, was that the perfect example? 4-0, sorry. Is that the perfect example of you just need to go there and make sure you're the best version of what you do? And then, with no disrespect to Kilmarnock, they shouldn't live with you. If you start getting dragged into what Kilmarnock are so brilliant at, then that's when the game will, Derek McInnes would love that. Yeah,
well, you will struggle because that's Kilmarnock's specialty. And, in the wide areas, like Daz says, they've got threats. If you leave your fullbacks isolated against them, you're in trouble. But in possession, look, if you can move Kilmarnock about from side to side and you've got the quality to play through them, then you will get your rewards. But Celtic, I thought, did it a wee bit different, when they won it by 5 back in May. I thought they went a wee bit more direct to Ida, and they got bodies round about them. They've got willing runners. Like, you've got Hatate, you've got Maeda, you've got Kuhn, you've got Engels, who's got a good engine, who can all play off or beyond Ida. So I wouldn't be surprised in the opening stages if you see something similar. And obviously the further Kilmarnock then drop as the game goes on, then you can play and pick passes. So they know how to manage the game, Celtic. They've got the blueprint there from last season. I'll be surprised if it changes much in the opening stages of this game.
I think Aberdeen last night made all of this even more interesting, because Jimmy Thielen is gathering figures that cannot be ignored. That they are seriously in this championship. Their figures tell you so. And Aberdeen, Pittodrie sold out for the 4th time in a row. The atmosphere last night was electric. The way they overcame a relatively poor first half, survived a Dundee penalty, scored 4 goals. They're in this, and Celtic know they're in this.
Just a quick observation. Great to see some positive feedback coming into the show already so early on a Sunday. Blair says 5 minutes in and Dazzy's whistling nose is at it again. Dan says, can you please turn down the Dazzler's nose? I'm not listening to that for the next 8 hours.
I thought I heard something. Actually, I did say a couple of minutes ago. I did think
we're going to give this guy
a draft coming in the studio.
We're going to give him a complex though, because there's nothing worse when people tell you breathe differently and then you start thinking about it.
I'm starting to hold my breath now.
Aye, you're going beetroot. Breathe it.
Sorry,
breathe through the mouth.
What were you about to say? I'm sure it was insightful and I cut you off.
Yeah, I know what Hugh. I take on board what Hugh's saying about Aberdeen. I think that Aberdeen's best hope this season they'll not challenge Celtic for the league. Absolutely no chance. I think they've started brilliantly in the league. They've not lost in the league. But I think that Celtic the other week there at Hampden just showed them the difference in golf. And I think for Aberdeen this season it's all about saying.
We will get to Aberdeen, don't worry. We're going to look back on yesterday's action as well. But just continuing the build up, let's hear from both managers then, starting with Derek McInnes and then Brendan Rodgers.
I think from our point of view, we take confidence for the fact that we have had some good results against them last season. We have got to try and be the best version of us. To get results against Celtic as we did last season, we had to do so much right in the game. We are not daunted by it, as we're in the same league. We've got a home fixture against them, and it's up to us to go and try and make it difficult for them. But there's no doubt that they're improving, and there's no doubt it's going to be a huge challenge. I do think they present the biggest challenge for all managers in the league, and they have done now for a period.
Is that pretty simple, Mark? That because we always talk about belief being one of the biggest challenges when you take on Celtic, and it guarantees you absolutely nothing, because yes, they've lost as well. But the last time Kilmarnock beat Celtic down there at Rugby Park, 7 of the starting 11 that day start again today. So at least you don't have to look for a reference. You don't have to doubt that it's possible, because 7 of them, and again there's been a change in goal, so 7 of the outfield, they've lived it not that long ago.
Yeah. But look, to state the obvious, and it's something that you hear from youth football all the way through, sometimes when you come up against a team like Celtic, or most of the time, you need them to be a bit off it, and every one of your players to be on it. Now, the day that Kilmarnock, or twice they beat Celtic at Rugby Park last season, that's what happened. They were simply on it. They all knew their roles in the wide area. They were effective, and they got a rubbery green as well. That's what you need. That Derek McInnes knows that.
Because remember, they beat them twice.
They beat them twice in the Cup and the League
as well, yeah.
Of course. But that's what you need. And obviously you need Celtic to be off it. If Celtic turn up like they did in May and beat when they beat Kelly 5-0, Derek's realistic. He knows that's very difficult to deal with. If the Celtic turn up and play anything like they did against Leipzig on Tuesday night, let's be honest, Kilmarnock don't stand a chance. But you need things to go in your favour, and you usually grasp at within 10 minutes of the game. You usually get a feeling for how this is going.
He's given it his best shot at positivity. He said we are not daunted. Now those words could come back to bite him, and he said we're in the same league. So he's saying I'm not going to feel sorry for myself. We're both part of the Premiership. So that's positivity. Now he has to see what he can do to unnerve Celtic.
I think you can see where he's sort of going with the message to the players as well, because that's an obvious one, and he's right to do that. Beating them twice at Rugby Park last season, 7 of the same starting 11 from the league game, and 7 of the same starting 11 from the Cup, albeit a different 7, if that makes sense. So a lot of experience there. And then Gordon, he said something during the week about the 5-0. I think he acknowledges that Celtic were brilliant and sort of blew them away, but he pointed out that, well, you know, Celtic had a title to win that night, and we had sort of done our job, so maybe the motivation was a bit different. I'm not saying he's trying to write that one off, but again, maybe just a message to the players that, look, twice when we felt it really mattered, we managed to get something last season.
Look, Mark's right. I think if you look at this situation, if Celtic are at it today and they're on the front foot and playing the football they can play, there's only one outcome, and we all know that, and I think Derek will know that. He's hoping they're just off it a little bit, and if they're off it a little bit, there's no doubt, especially at home, with that, the experience and the 2 lads up front are a real handful at times. The record at Rugby Park is very good throughout this season as well, as Hugh touched on. But if Celtic turn up, they win the game. But I just look at Derek McInnes. Derek McInnes, very experienced manager. He'll be telling these players in there, we need to be at the top level. We need to be making sure we defend properly. Because you look at that front 3 in midfield of Celtic, they'll punish you if you just switch off for a minute. I think this has got to be a real tight game this afternoon. Still fancy Celtic strongly, but I think it'll be a tight game.
Do you think, obviously, Mark, the confidence, momentum, feel-good factor, all these buzz phrases that you hear, you know, plays into Celtic's hands, or gives them, you know, a better chance, if you like? They obviously go there in such a good place. You can't really doubt anything that they're doing. Certainly domestically, they've now even added a bit of that in the Champions League as well, of course. Yeah, well, I can only relate it to when I was a player and I had similar experiences. You come off the back of a great result like that, you're going away from home to a hard place, you know, but really all about you and how you're feeling yourself going into that game.
You look at every one of those Celtic players, and even the ones that come on, Scales come on, and Ida come on and contributed the other night. You are feeling top of the world. You are feeling the top of your game. It's a dangerous opponent when you're facing something like that. And like I keep saying it, the opening 5-10 minutes of these games will tell you a lot. If Celtic start really bright and start popping the ball about, anything resembling like they did the other night, then that will continue for the full game. However, if Kilmarnock turn it into this scrap and they use Watkins and Vassell early on, physical, get the ball up to them, make it really hard for Trusty and Scales, then we could see a different game playing out.
Looking forward to it. We've given you the team news, you've heard from the managers, and there are plenty more build up to come. Why not tweet us, give us your thoughts on the team lineups for both sides, and maybe a scoreline prediction as well, because I don't think Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dale will get it right knowing them. So why not drop us a score prediction at Clyde SSB, and we'll see who gets it right come the end of the day. It's a long build up here. We've got still 40 or so minutes to go. With that in mind, we'll take a look back at some of the big talking points from Saturday in the Scottish Premiership when we return.
What if you could send a free chocolate bar in secret to someone special, just to, give them a little lift? With the Cadbury Secret Santa Postal Service, you can send free chocolates secretly from a poster. They're popping up all over the country, from great big cities to quaint little towns. Look out for a poster near you, or search Cadbury Secret Santa to find out more. 18 plus. Free service on selected products while stocks last until 22nd December. Visit cadbury.co.uk/terms and conditions for full T's and C's.
At Tesco Mobile, that Black Friday feeling lasts longer. Get the epic Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra with unlimited data for just $49.99 a month with club card prices, saving you a huge £738. Plus, you'll get a frozen contract and more club card points, turning Black Friday into Black Friday. It pays to be connected. Search Tesco Mobile. Every little helps.
Ends 2nd of December. Club card and 36-month credit agreement required. Frozen for contract duration. Terms at tescomobile.com/terms.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dale are in the studio. We've got Gabs down at Kilmarnock as well, because that's the first game up today. Kilmarnock against Celtic. Looking forward to it as always. And then, of course, turn our attentions to Rangers taking on Hearts a bit later on as well. We are here until 8 o'clock. We're asking for all your tweets just now, and then your calls a bit later on. Billy's on Twitter says, hope they're fresh in response to the Celtic team. Pozog says, good team that. I don't think there'll be too many complaints from the team Brendan Rodgers has chosen today. Certainly one that is approaching Celtic's strongest. So for the meantime, let's take a look back at some of yesterday's action before we get back to things at Rugby Park. And I think in terms of storyline, Hugh, it feels like Hibs would be the right place to start. They lost again. That's now 7 without a win. They find themselves bottom of the table, only 1 point behind Hearts, granted, but still bottom. And it felt like some people had that down as a game that if David Gray lost, he wouldn't keep his job as Hibs manager. It's 2:30 the following day. He is still the Hibs manager. Do you expect that to change?
There's a possibility. I wouldn't say that he's entirely out of the woods, because it has been reported today that things turned ugly at full time. Supporters leaving the main stand made their feelings very well known to the occupants of the director's box for a start. Ellie Yuan, the Hibs player, had to be separated from fans by his teammate Rocky Bashiri and club stewards. When it turns as ugly as that, then the club have to take notice. The ground was virtually empty by the time the match finished. Those who stayed had stayed to demonstrate in one form or another. It's a shocking run. They are bottom of the league. There has to be speculation about his future. The international break is normally the point at which people take action on these matters, and that's why I say he's not out of the woods yet. If they don't do it the next 24 hours, then they are of a mind to see if he can turn things round.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that one. He is walking a tightrope at the minute, because you've got to assess when results like this happen and you go on this run, if the future looks brighter, if you can see, green shoots of recovery anywhere on the pitch. I'm talking about now. It may be fine off the pitch. Players may have the utmost respect for David Gray, for what he did for the club and how he is as a person, a man. But if you're the owner, and the guys upstairs making decisions, you have to look what's happening on the pitch, and can you afford to allow this to go on to 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, 4 weeks' time, before you know it, you're at Christmas time. And if you're at Christmas time and you're still skirting with the bottom of the league, you are serious relegation contenders. And can Hibs afford that? Of course they can. So that's where the decision then becomes, imminent, and you have to make a strong one. You either back him and you get behind him and you say we are sticking with him and we're going to support him and we're going to give him funds in January to strengthen this squad, or you have to make the decision that we all think might happen.
If you are of a mind to hold your nerve, the bottom 5 are separated by 4 points. 4 points. In other words, 2 good games back to back for David Gray could change the whole complexion.
2-1 win for St Mirren on the day, which was a very good win for them. Gordon, as is often the case, it gets lost amongst the so-called crisis club, which in this case is Hibs. Conor McMenamin with a double, his first goals since last November. He's had a brutal time due to injuries. Nicky Cadden's late penalty, he then thought he'd equalised. It was ruled out for offside, I think rightly so, having seen it back. Hugh puts up a fair point. They're not detached by any stretch, but at the same time, Hibs fans are clearly in a difficult place.
Yeah, Hugh's 100% right. I think because of the way the league is planned out, Gordon, St Mirren 2 or 3 weeks ago were down 7th, 8th, round about that. A draw and a win has now put them into the top 6. So you look up there and Hearts are a point in front. You look up to Dundee in 7th. There's only 4 points of difference, Hugh rightly says. But if you're going to do it, this is a perfect time for me. Now, if you're not and you think, hold on a minute, we've got this taggy sacking managers left, right and centre, we have to hold our nerve, as Hugh's quite rightly says, then going back it, just come out and say, look, we're going forward with David Gray, we think he's the right man, give us his support. But if you're taking 8 points out of 36, tells you there's something wrong.
Well, you're at that stage when journalists very explicitly ask, do you fear for your job? Can you turn this around? And the manager doesn't bristle at those questions. He knows that they're fair and he knows that they're right. We're very much in that time now for Hibs. Here's what David Gray had to say.
I don't think worried or scared or is the right way I feel about it. I fully understand the noise, and rightly so, justifiably so, because of the situation we're in, where this club is at the moment. We've talked a lot about it being a new squad, and I could come up with 101 excuses, but where we find ourselves isn't good enough. And I know it's something I've said now for a number of weeks because of where we are. One thing I do know is, until someone tells me differently, I'm going to try as hard as I can. I will continue to work as hard as I possibly can, because no one's more frustrated than me. I also know what's in the group and what we can be. As I say, that 45 minutes was so unlike us, but we delivered that, so we need to then bounce back as quickly as you can, because it isn't going to change. The players aren't going to change between now and in January minimum. So it's about everybody working as hard as we can and sticking together to make sure we get through this period. But the question you was asked, I fully understand why you would ask it.
Okay, let's take a look at some of the other games. Gordon, important win for your local team Motherwell. They're up to 5th but level on points with Dundee United and Rangers before they kick off today. A 2-1 home win against St Mirren. Maswanisi had Motherwell in front fairly early on. Tom Sparrow made it 2. It looked like it would be comfortable. Nicky Clark scored a penalty after a certain Andy Halliday handballed it. St Johnstone thought they had equalised right at the end, but it hit Jack Sanders' arm and was ruled out.
Very good one indeed. I know we had a caller on, Hugh, last night, complaining about the performance, getting entertained. I totally take that on board, because you're paying a lot of money nowadays. But for me, after last week's disappointment at Hampden, where, let's be honest, Rangers deserved to go through, I thought Motherwell weren't that good. I thought the manager came in for a bit of criticism about his substitutions, but it was all about bouncing back. And they're sitting 5th in the league, Gordon, 19 points, joint with Rangers just now. I know Rangers play later on tonight, but that's a good return. And you take into the factor that he's had so many injuries to key players, experienced players. So as much as maybe one or two Motherwell fans disappointed about the performance, for me it was all about results.
You're a student of the game, Mark Wilson. We were sitting watching the highlights before we came through to the studio, and it was really interesting last night because Gordon's right, the first caller was a Motherwell fan who was just unhappy at the performance, but what that did was then spark loads of other callers to phone in and disagree and say that firstly they actually thought it was pretty good, and then even if they didn't, if you're a Motherwell fan, you probably know where your sort of limitations are, and 7 points better off than they were at this stage last season.
Well, that's a remarkable upturn in fortunes, and it's exactly where you want to be. Now, you'd like to get Hugh on and say, what would you rather than sparkling performances and be the opposite way, 7 points worse off? Of course you wouldn't take that. Depends what your level, what you think entertainment is. I said yesterday, and for those Motherwell fans that phoned up after Hugh, their entertainment is fighting for those European spots in the top half of the league. Their entertainment is being joint on point with Rangers and Dundee United, joint third. That is good enough. Now, Daz makes a good point. When you have lost so many key players, then of course that's going to affect how you play the game. I had to look at the stats after Hugh said that about the game, and of course Motherwell 33% possession, St Johnstone 66%, so they gave up a lot of the ball. But what is crucial is the key moments. Masonissi's header, it's a great goal by the way, and so Sparrow's goal, great strike. So those moments to get right, who cares about what comes in between if you end up with the 3 points? Once you get all your players back, maybe you could have a gripe, but still Motherwell should be pleased. Stuart Kettlewell should be pleased where he's taken their side so far this season.
The one thing I wasn't prepared for at 5 o'clock last night was the declaration of a style war at Fir Park, and I am firmly on the side of those who were contradicting my namesake Hugh. I think the only thing that matters, and I'm not abandoning the concept of entertainment, but the only thing that matters is that you stay in a respectable position in the league, and that you stay in the league full stop. And where Stuart Kettlewell has Motherwell at the moment is proof of the manager doing a good job.
A couple of VAR decisions, handballs in that one. Andy Halliday penalised for 1. St Johnstone got a penalty, and then it went the other way, where a handball leading directly to St Johnstone's goal was ruled out. Here was Stuart Kettlewell's take on those.
I've seen both back. Categorically, I don't think there's any dispute whatsoever in the St Johnstone goal that's chopped off. You could argue a bit of fortune, but it was almost a kind of volleyball, 2 arms. I've seen the slow motion it there, so it's never going to be allowed in football. That's the reason we have VAR, which has worked. The other side, again, I just feel it's the side that probably every one of us in this room will have a different take and a different view. The one thing I would say on the penalty it's given for St Johnstone is that we obviously do these briefings at the start of the season. We had a couple last season whereby we were told that it was such close proximity from the ball. Graham Carey I played with him. He's got an absolute wand of a left foot, but he strikes the ball so well, and you look at it, I think Andy's maybe 2 yards away from him when the ball strikes him. So that was kind of my argument, that I don't think there's a possibility of him trying to get out of the way. He tries to get his shoulder towards the ball. So I'm not going to sit here and critique and criticise. It's been given today, but I wouldn't be surprised if at another point over the course of the season that it's not. So that's a little bit of grey area that quite clearly comes with a handball.
The other team that's up there with Motherwell on the 19 points is your old club, Dundee United. Mark Wilson, the most comfortable afternoon in the league yesterday, a 3-0 win against Ross County.
Yeah, a good result for Jim Goodwin. He just keeps churning out those performances and results. I mean, the United fans certainly can't argue. I think they're playing decent football as well, and some eye-catching performances, but just blooding through young players, getting young players in loan. Lucas Stevenson scores a great goal, great diving header, and then young Sturton adds the third with another header. Shows he's got a lot of things going in the right direction for Dundee United at
That's a great story, that, isn't it? 17-year-old, his second touch in league football. I thought it was his first, but I think he got one before it got
that's ruined at the end.
Before it got played out wide,
touch,
and then it got crossed in.
Jim Goodwin gave away his age there when he said that it was Roy the Rover stuff. I'm not sure today's young men know who Roy the Rovers is.
You're right. I think the phrase still works. I think people get the reference.
But the sentiment was undoubtedly correct.
And then Hugh, once we left here, Aberdeen.
Yeah.
4-1 win against Dundee. Maybe question marks just because of the heavy nature of the defeat against Celtic last week. Would it knock the stuffing out of them? How would they respond? They didn't start this game well. Dundee got a penalty that Simon Murray saw saved by Dimitar Mitov, but by the end yet another full house at Pittodrie,
Yep.
and they're top of the league as we sit here today.
That's why I say they're the real deal. He's won too many matches. He's gone on too long an unbeaten run. He has filled Pittodrie for there to be any doubt about Jimmy Teelan and what he's doing there. That's a club reborn. 40 years since they won the league, and I've watched Aberdeen. Managers have come, managers have gone. They get a trophy every now and then. They get the Scottish Cup in 1991, for heaven's sake. It's 10 years since they won anything.
Oh, you've not just taken Motherwell's 1991 Scottish Cup winner.
When was it? 1990. 1990.
Steady.
But the place is, call it anything you like, revitalised, re-energised, reborn under Jimmy Teelan. And for me, I think it's wonderful to see because it takes away that two-horse race dimension. They're in it until Celtic prove otherwise, and they're going to split the Old Firm until Rangers can prove otherwise. So they've got the two of them going into today's matches with a clear purpose.
Do you think they can win the league here?
No, not at all.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I think they've been brilliant. 11 games, 10 wins, 1 draw in the league. Obviously the disappointment of what Celtic did to them at Hampden, but I agree with you as well. I don't think they can win the league, but I think they can certainly put themselves in a position to split the Old Firm.
It's the number of players that are contributing. Papa Gay is still the joint top scorer in the league. He's not played in the Premiership for 2 whole months.
Yeah.
Kevin Nisbet misses 3 games due to injury, comes on, sets one up wonderfully, by the way, if you've not seen it. Brilliant quick thinking from a free kick, then scores one himself. Shaden Morris is revitalised. Vicente Bizalin was in his way out. He comes on and scores. It's just all seems to be pulling in the right direction.
Duke went AWOL and was forgiven and brought back into the fold.
Yesterday was outstanding. And that's got to boil down to the manager, hasn't it, and his coaching team. You know, when you've got so many players that were already in the building and you've transformed them and making them feel good about themselves, and they're, you know, churning out these performances, the manager's got to take huge credit within that. And well done to them.
They've got good players, Mark. If you take Celtic out of the equation, would you say there's any better 2 fullbacks in Scottish football?
Devlin and McKenzie.
Yeah, they're terrific. McGrath and Midley Park can make things happen. They've got guys that can score goals. They've got a terrific goalkeeper. They've got a good base. He's built a good base. He's got a good squad. He's got everybody singing off the same hymn sheet. I totally agree with you in the sense that he deserves all the plaudits. Yes, they took a sore one off Celtic, but that can happen to you. But it's going to be a good season for Aberdeen. I'm glad that they're back because I think Scottish football need that.
Yeah, a busy Saturday to look back on, but we have got big games just around the corner. First up, Rugby Park for Kilmarnock against Celtic, and we'll go back there next.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are settling down. We're getting closer to kick off at Rugby Park. Let's go back there and get a refresher of the team news with Gabriel.
Yes, Gordon, Celtic been flying over the past week. Arguably their 2 best performances of the season. That so-called generational win over RB Leipzig on Tuesday and the crushing victory over the Dons in the Premier Sports Cup last weekend. But it's back to league action today. It may have been a brilliant week on top of an outstanding start to the season, but Celtic come into this game 3 points behind leaders Aberdeen. Such has been the brilliance of Jimmy Tillin's side. They want to retake top spot and head into the international break in first place. Killy had a mixed start to the season, but they are climbed up the table a bit, lost 2 of their last 3. It's been very up and down. Derek McInnes wants a big win, a signature win, to really fire this fan base up, this squad of players for the rest of the campaign. Let's quickly go through the teams again. We'll start with the hosts. 3 changes for Kilmarnock from last weekend's loss at Dundee. So it'll be Robbie McCrory in goal. The defensive Lewis Mayo, Robbie Dees and Joe Wright. Matty Kennedy and Corey Ndaba, the wing-backs, with David Watson, Liam Donnelly and Bad Lions in middle of the park. Kyle Vassell and Marley Watkins are up top. And for Celtic, it's just 2 changes from the Champions League on Tuesday night. Cameron Kartovic has not risked on the AstroTurf. Kyogo drops to the bench. So it's Casper Schmeichel in goal, Alistair Johnson, Liam Scales, Austin Trusty and Greg Taylor at the back. Callum McGregor, Reo Atati and Arne Engels in midfield. Nicholas Kuhn, Adam Ida and Dyson Maida up top.
Yeah, interesting, Gabriel, because there's always such a debate about the pitch, and I know it annoys Kilmarnock fans, but it is what it is. And reports this week, of course, that they are going to delay plans to put down grass and stick with the Astro for another season. But Brendan Rodgers couldn't help it. I suppose he had no choice. You were at the press conference the other day when he was quick to point out that once you've gone there and won 4-0, wrapped up a league, done it in so much style, you probably can't then go and use it as an excuse thereafter.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. He said when you win 4-0, when you play as well as we have, when you essentially lift the league trophy on that day, they went straight to Parkhead and was celebrating into the early hours of the morning. He said, I can never slag off AstroTurf pitches again, so I'm sure if they lose today he won't bring it up. But we're speaking to Derek McInnes as well earlier in the week on Wednesday, and he said that his team have had such a good record in the big games since they've come back into the top flight here at home against Rangers, against Celtic. That's what gives them confidence. Everyone remembers, as the boys in the studio were saying, the two games here early last season when Celtic lost in the league, then they lost in the League Cup. It actually looked like McInnes had Rodgers' number. You remember he took his side to Parkhead and they drew 1-1 in February with that late David Watson goal. And things were seriously looking shaky for Rodgers back then. Rangers breathing down Celtic's neck, but what a turnaround it has been since then. They clicked into gear. They, of course, hammered Killie here in May, wrapping up the title. They won 4-0 at Celtic Park against Kilmarnock on opening day this season, and they've not looked back at all this campaign.
Yeah, Mark, I don't want to labour the point because we've been here a million times, not only with Killie, with Livy. We've done it to death and we'll probably do it again. But just quickly, your thoughts, because it's hard to get away from the notion that it must be a leveler at times. It just kind of must be, or it's at least different. But then, as Gabs has pointed out, Brendan Rodgers, they've won 4-0, can't use it as an excuse. They've mastered it in the past, so why not again? And then actually, you look at Kilmarnock, they've only got one home win this season. They've won once at home and they've failed to win on 3 other occasions. So it's not this secret cheat code that guarantees the home team wins, and you just have to deal with it.
Well, of course you do, and Brendan Rodgers knows that. When his team's been there and won convincingly and played some sparkling football on it, then you find it hard to have an excuse. I tell you, when he has got a reason to complain, and other managers do have a reason to complain about it, when it's dry and it's sunny and you go there and it's really sticky and you can't really move the ball, AstroTurf reacts differently. On a day like today, where there's been a little bit of rain, a little bit of drizzle on it, and it's fine, the ball moved just fine on it. So I don't think they will have any excuses if Kilmarnock, win the game. I don't think we'll see anybody from Celtic come out and complain about the pitch.
I don't think it's about excuses, Gordon. I think it's a fact that our top league, I think it's an embarrassment to our top league, to be honest with you. I totally understand the financial side there. I totally understand that they can train there, everything about it, and what the benefits are for Kilmarnock. This is our top league we're talking about. We're getting a lot of crowds back as well. I know I keep harping on about that. Every team should have a grass pitch for me.
Like I say, don't think we need to labour the point. It's not like the first time we've seen a game on it, and we've done this argument very many times. Hugh Keevins, in terms of the here and now and going into this one, Brendan Rodgers is obviously, I wonder if he almost sees these sort of full circle moments. Maybe he had it, to be fair, already in May when they went back there and won the title, but just the difference in the sort of feeling that they bring to Rugby Park today compared to some of particularly that League Cup one, because it was so early in his time. Did people even want him back, trying to find their feet? That seems like an awful long time ago now.
Because when they beat Leipzig in the manner in which they did on Tuesday night, Brendan Rodgers had won the battle with the Celtic supporters, undoubtedly. Some didn't want him back, and now they have nowhere to go, because Brendan Rodgers has a Celtic side. If they were playing Kilmarnock in the car park and you had Callum McGregor and Rio Hatate and Arne Engels and Nicholas Kuhn, I would expect Celtic to beat Kilmarnock in the car park, never mind on a synthetic pitch. Brendan Rodgers is now at peak Brendan, and I think that Celtic should now be investigating what happens at the end of next season when his contract comes to an end. If a player's contract was coming to an end next season, there would be preliminary talks. Brendan Rodgers is Celtic's number one asset. He makes players better. He made Matt O'Reilly better, a £25 million player who yesterday scored the goal that beat Man City for Brighton. He made Kuhn better. He's made everyone there better. And he is the number one asset that Celtic possess. I think Celtic should be investigating where they go after next season in terms of the manager's position. But he arrives at Rugby Park today at the peak of his powers, and he knows individual players are playing at the peak of their powers as well. He wants to win, go back on top, and enjoy it for the next fortnight.
In terms of players, Mark, an interesting week with some updates, because according to the newspapers, was imminent that Alistair Johnson would sign a new deal. Brendan Rodgers saying he hopes to sort something, but not necessarily imminent. Alex Valle, there were reports that his loan spell could be cut short by Barcelona, which I think would really worry the Celtic fans or annoy them. But again, Brendan Rodgers saying as far as he knows nothing's changed. And probably the most pressing one is Greg Taylor, who again plays today, keeps his place at a venue he knows very well. His contract is up very soon.
Greg Taylor's still the number one left back for me. I think Alex Valle's come in and done very, very well. I think he provides good competition and a good option for Brendan Rodgers in different matches. So that would be a blow if he has to go. But I think Greg Taylor, the sooner you can get him tied up, the better. And Alistair Johnson, for that matter. Fullbacks are so important to this team and the way that they play. They used to just be the unpopular position, didn't they?
Yeah, tell me about it.
I know all about it. But on this side, they aren't. They are so important, and it's very difficult to get fullbacks who are comfortable with the way Celtic play. They've got two very, very good ones. They've got Alex Valle, who can come in as well, and they've got Anthony Ralston, who deputises well. So they've got four there that do the job. If they can tie them down, then they need to.
Just in terms of key battles in this one, Gordon, is it hard to see beyond? Because if you ask anyone what a key battle is, they say, oh, the game's won and lost in the midfield and the engine room, and you hear it all the time. Football, I think, has moved on, and there's a lot more to it. But just particularly with the way this Kilmarnock team do it, and we saw what happened when they played Rangers, Vassell and Watkins against Trusty and Scales, is it hard to see beyond that in terms of the way that sets the tone for Killie? Or if it doesn't work, then you pretty much know that it could be Celtic's day.
Yeah, I think that obviously Kilmarnock got to try and play to that strength, Gordon. But let's be kidded here that they're just a long ball up to those two, because they've got good players in the wide area, they've got good players in the middle of the park. I think both strikers today, especially for Celtic as well, that's why Ida's been brought back in. Bit of strength up there, they might go a little bit more direct and then play off the second ball. But if Kilmarnock can get good service up here, I think that'll be a great battle with these two against Celtic's Trusty and Scales.
The stage is set. It should be a cracker. Kilmarnock against Celtic, and kick-off is coming next.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Volvo. Book a test drive for the Volvo EX30 today. Head online for details.
At Tesco Mobile, that Black Friday feeling lasts longer. Get the epic Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra with unlimited data for just $49.99 a month with club card prices, saving you a huge £738. Plus, you'll get a frozen contract and more club card points, turning Black Friday into Black Friday. It pays to be connected. Search Tesco Mobile. Every little helps.
Ends 2nd of December. Club card and 36-month credit agreement required. Frozen for contract duration. Terms at tescomobile.com/terms.
At Tesco, our finest mince pies are half price. Now £1.50 with your Tesco Club card. Feel the power to lower prices. Tesco. Every little helps. Majority of larger stores ends 19th of November. Club card or app required.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Land Rover. Looking to sell your Land Rover? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation.
They would swap sides and off they go. I feel like you don't see that. Is that dying up?
Well, this is the way Celtic shot, was it not, in the first half when they won 5-0? Maybe it was a Celtic decision.
Could well be.
Yeah, they started very brightly that evening back in May, and I wonder if the game will take a similar pattern. There you go, Scales right away, looking for Ida. I said that may be the option, the preferred option right away, and Ida in possession.
It has to be
That's
accurate
Celtic
though,
goal.
Gordon, doesn't it? Because that one's above his head, and if that's the case, Joe Wright is absolutely delighted with that, because that's what he wants.
100%. It's got to be a good ball, and it's the same with Kilmarnock. If you play two big centre forwards up there, you just don't keep lumping balls up. The idea is simple. Celtic want to go up the pitch a little bit quicker. They'll go a little bit more direct. If they can drop it into Ida, can hold it up, all of a sudden he's get that back up from the middle of the park, that midfield three, and
nice flick, really nice flick from Arnie Engels. And there's Nicholas Kuhn and Celtic are motoring here. Adam Ida, just strange movement I thought from him. I don't know if he was scared of offside. Well, he would have been scared of the offside, but I still think it could have been a bit slicker, that, Gordon, and that's a really good chance. Yeah, he got wasted.
He got his body angles all wrong there for me, but don't take nothing away. I thought Kuhn was brilliant there, but the pass was terrible, absolutely terrible. But
I was right about him.
Yeah, you're right, Hugh. Don't ever apologise.
It's not about blaming it, Mark. We said that we should be beyond it. I do wonder the pitch, if he's, just that speed of thought that you maybe just need to put a little bit more on it when you're trying to roll those ones through to.
Yeah, maybe it was a good move though, from Celtic. By the way, we saw that a lot on Tuesday night against Leipzig. Johnson into Engels, just a wee touch round the corner. And Kuhn's so quick, just accelerates away for the Killie midfield. But yeah, better quality in the pass, and Ida was in there. Bright opening, because Killie's came down the other end and put a ball right into Celtic's box.
Wow. Greg Taylor fully crosses it into his own box, like high and curling.
He's got every confidence in his defenders there. Oh, it's a good ball.
Yeah, Arnie Engels is in behind Corey and Ndaba. It keeps up with him. It's a bit of a loose touch, and then Ndaba does well for a throw in. I
wonder if Engels has experienced much of this.
I was going to say that.
He's days growing up, playing on AstroTurf pitches. He must be thinking, what's going on here?
Yeah, it was a good ball. Good run from Engels. It's got a good start to it. There's a good sort of a pace to this game. I know we're all into 3 minutes, but I quite like the way this game's going about.
What was Kilmarnock's explanation for delaying the grass?
I actually don't think there's a confirmation on it. I just saw newspaper reports during the week, and I think it's just a sort of timing issue, if you like, because remember, the whole point is they're building a new training facility. They'll start training on grass, and therefore they'll play on grass. I don't know if it's just like a delay there, and therefore the report was that the plastic is here to stay just a little bit longer, but I don't recall any official communication from the club. I'm sure someone can correct me if I'm wrong. There's every chance I missed it, but that's certainly how I remember it from this week.
They should be outlawed anyway. I mean, we've talked about Champions League, Rangers in the Europa League, and the kind of performance you put in, and you have to go and play this.
Yeah, good territory from Celtic. They worked it well and got the ball in, and then it was headed back across, but just no real takers. One of those, you're looking for someone to be in the right place at the right time. Didn't quite happen.
It just pin you in though, Celtic, once you get to the byline and that gets headed out from a Kilmarnock defender. Look where Celtic's centre halves are. Celtic centre halves are about 35 yards for the Kilmarnock goal. It's Trusty that picks up the ball and gets it back to Scales, and they recycle it and come again. You can afford to do that when you've got such pace in your back line, and that's what Trusty gives.
There's a problem.
Oh, you do not want Maeda running in behind you. The ball does stick a little bit, but the cross comes in. Adam Maeda just couldn't sort his feet out. That's a really good chance for Celtic, and somehow just ends in the ball dribbling into the arms of Robbie McCrory.
That's a couple of times he's just got his body all wrong. The one that we were talking about with Kuhn, and then that comes out. By the way, that is a great chance.
Yeah.
See how he adjusts his feet. He's got to score.
He's only 6 yards out. Was he inside the 6 yard box?
Yeah,
I think he doesn't even realise he can actually stop that ball and put it in. He's got time for 2 touches, but he just tries to direct it, doesn't sort his feet out, bobbles it back to the Kilmarnock goalkeeper. But a real opening there for Celtic.
The only thing I would say, Mark, if he could score all his chances, he wouldn't be at Celtic.
Exactly. Imagine he came out and said that.
But wow. Cyril Dessers didn't cost £9.5 million.
Yeah, good argument.
I'll tell you what, Greg Taylor loves this ball across the box.
Well done, Trusty. Because Trusty's got Vassell or Watkins standing right beside him, and he nonchalantly just pass it back to Schmeichel.
I've got to say, Mark, I think Trusty looks a real deal for me now. I think at the beginning you're sort of doubting him a little bit. He's settled right in. He looks a real top class defender for me.
See, just quickly, on that Cyril Dessers one, just because I know you were of the sort of hold on, Celtic into the box again, but the keeper will come and get it. I know you were very much of the nothing to see here type, but I think you can just tell, maybe it's just like a social media thing. As an example, last night there's an account out there called Eurofoot. It's got over 500,000 followers, and they quoted the Cyril Dessers thing and then attributed it to this show. I just don't think they do that unless they know people are going to disagree with the quote. Do you know what I mean? See, if it's like a run-of-the-mill thing, you wouldn't bother doing it.
You talk about you've interviewed Dessers, he's one of your favourite players. I don't think Cyril Dessers come out and was being disrespectful to Rangers by saying what he said. I think it just sometimes gets just blown out of proportion.
Some things are maybe better left unsaid, but to me, great, keep them coming. It gives us something to talk about.
Of course it is.
Anyway, free kick to Kilmarnock. Celtic have had a number of decent openings already, but just the odd little touch here or footwork there, it's sort of not quite come to fruition. Kilmarnock.
I think this is a danger for Kilmarnock. I think for Celtic, I think Kilmarnock have got some real height in their team if they can get quality in there.
Well, you know, Matty Kennedy tends to be pretty good with the delivery, and that is another good one. It causes Kasper Schmeichel decides to just boot that clear when he could have just caught it.
It come off Engels, didn't it? But I know,
surely not deliberate, was
if
it?
that was an intentional pass back, I mean, that is coolness personified, but it's just come off Engels, and Schmeichel launches it. Was the old John Smith advert? Remember that? Have it.
Do you know what I like about that? I think that's what I'd do. If you stuck me in goals because you'd be a bit scared of trying to catch it, you'd put it away.
Listen,
why not?
Everybody do their own thing. You would just chip the ball if you were in goals, Gordon. I think you score confidently.
I mean, I get the joke, but I don't think it really works at that. I think you've tried too hard there.
He's not happy with that.
No, but when you think about it, in that instance, like a cross that falls at his feet, doesn't make sense.
Just relax. It was a wee bit fun. If you can't take fun on Sunday,
no, but that's the thing. Cause I think you are quite funny. I just think you
no. Look, I promise not to say another thing.
Because the ball was in the
ground.
Don't
I upset you. It's a long.
It doesn't really make sense.
You late meds to my pizza.
Back to the game. By the way, Kilmarnock.
It's hard to hear his jokes over his nose whistling.
No, we're trying to get back to the game here, Hugh. But I said Vassell and Watkins are going to be key. And if Kelly will go direct, there you go, direct ball. Vassell holds it up, manages to get a throw in, and Watson is going to launch us into the Celtic box. Make the most of these opportunities, Kelly.
Yeah, good header from Liam Scales. David Watson with the long throw, and the ball does stick for Kilmarnock in the box, and it's bouncing around, but Arnie Engels will just flick it out to the left hand side where Watson will keep it in.
I can't believe he's tried to fire it across. There's too many. He's got to stand that up. There's too many bodies in the road there. He must know that. He's in a great position. He gets the rub of the green here. Stand the ball up. You know, you're never going to get that across the face of the goals. Too many Celtic defenders in there.
See, just on that, and we're chatting about the pitch. Do you think the grass pitch that ball would have held up?
No, I don't. And that's where you have to be honest about the differences. You can't keep banging on and moaning, but I think if you're being honest, that ball goes out for a goal kick there. If it's on grass.
And I'm saying there's been a bit of drizzle today, and you know there should be a bit of slickness on
but
the
what
pitch.
you don't know is that Derek McInnes got his hairdryer out and went round before the game.
By the same token, does that excuse Adam Ida for the one that he missed? Yeah, I think
it does change things. It's not about excusing it, but I think you're just denying reality, Mark. You're out there, you're training on them. It's stickier. It just is.
I could see right there because it's looking all day long like that ball's rolling it, and it just stops. And Kelly get the opportunity to put it across the front. So the game does take on a different shape. Defenders have to be more switched on to that ball's not going out. On a grass pitch, you just go, yep, let's see it out, let's regroup and go up the pitch. Not today.
Anyway, 10 minutes in, Killie 0, Celtic 0. Celtic with the best of the chances for sure, but they've been a bit slack in front of goal. And in the last couple of minutes, Kilmarnock will be feeling a bit better about things, getting up the pitch, a few set pieces. Here's another high one into the box, and that is the danger. Someone's down with a head knock, and I was going to say,
first is it?
I think Adam Ida was back defending as well.
Sorry,
the ref would have had a bit of explaining to do if he'd let that go, and then the ball had gone in and all that stuff. So Nick Walsh just calming things down.
Well, it's certainly a tactic that Kilmarnock. Oh no!
Yellow card for
Joe.
He's just attracted to a card, isn't he?
I mean, he's whacked Adam Ida right in the face.
I tell
what
you
is
what.
he thinking about?
I tell
That's his down payment then.
Oh, and what are you looking at? 11 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, well, that's
still
normally
a long way to go.
Now, I wonder what Derek McInnes is thinking, standing at the side there, because all the teams have footage. They've got these iPads or whatever now that you can see replays as well. That is a bad one.
It's an accident, though, isn't it?
Oh, it's an accident. It's a bad one.
But that's why I'm in terms of what Derek McInnes is. Do you mean taking him off?
Yeah,
right.
I'm not thinking is that a red card? No, it's an accident. Joe Wright saying he's focused on the ball.
Yeah, that's what, because Derek McInnes' real bugbear just now is when players are doing daft.
I don't think that's an accident.
Do you know something, Hugh? I'm going to side with you here. I think that he knows what he's doing there.
Exactly. He never takes his eyes off the ball,
I know,
does he?
but listen, when you're playing, you know he's swinging that arm toward.
His arm didn't need to make that
Hugh,
motion.
I'm with you.
It's like he's burst his nose. It's a sore one, no doubt about that. Now, what is Derek McInnes thinking? Regardless if he's seen it or not, is he thinking?
Would you sub him?
Well, Derek's done it before. This season, Derek McInnes did it before.
Usually I would say no, right?
Yeah,
Usually. You have got to take his history into account this season alone. You've got to.
I told you earlier on in the week that I did I was interviewing Derek McInnes during the week, and he was saying that he has started fining his players in training for arguing back with decisions. So he will deliberately make wrong calls in the training matches to try and bait his players into complaining, and then he fines them just a small amount, sticks it in the kitty for the Christmas night out or whatever. He's also stopped players pulling shirts in training. See if someone's getting away from you don't pull them, because he's just trying to, by the way, he feels hard done by on a number of the red cards they've had, but he's also trying to just kind of control what he can. I just thought that was quite interesting.
Good management. Yeah. It's good management, get them into good habits. But it certainly for some reason, is Joe Wright missing training when he's doing this? Because I don't think he's getting the message for some reason.
Suspended for training.
That's different though. That one is different. Like I said, the ones that are annoying him, because he's had a couple obviously where the ball's been kicked away, or a shirt's been pulled. These really sort of cheap ones.
What's the VAR situation with regard to this?
It's not going to be a red.
See, remember there was one at Dens Park
one, but
was at Silla a couple of weeks ago now. He'd already been booked, and he had one where he didn't see I can't remember who it was against, but he didn't see the player coming, and he elbows him in the face. He gets a second yellow card.
Those are yellows.
Yeah.
So VAR is
surely he's not going to be subbed here.
If his nose won't stop bleeding, he might have to.
Just get the cotton buds up there. That's what I put the towels and the, what do you call the thing? Bed sheets up. That sorts me.
Yeah, he's in a bit of bother rather than me.
That's not what you want, is it? Early in the game,
they're
smacking the nose.
Bad for us as well, because it's just delaying things and taking the sting out of the game, as they say, Hugh. The momentum.
We can speak about nose breaks. How many we've had?
I've had one.
Oh, I've had a few. I had an operation. Saying that, you've got a big bump in your beak. That's because it was dislodged. It was pointing the other way. Had to go straight. Alan Smart, my teammate in training, elbow straight to it.
Craig Brewster broke mines. My
training as well.
No, in a game, headed me.
Oh no!
He's a solid big unit.
Honestly, it was.
He's back up and running.
He does fine for now.
He's having a look at Joe Wright.
yeah, it might be Hugh. He's a big lad himself either.
But Derek McInnes must be at the back of his mind that Joe Wright's going to have him reduced to 10 men before this is over.
It depends.
Well, he's certainly put himself under a little bit of pressure.
Anyway, we're back underway now. There's a bit of a delay there, and it's nice footwork and then strength from Kyle Vassell, who is just an absolute unit. It's just a goal kick in the end, but he's just so effective at that, Mark. Just bundling his way forward. He's adamant it's a corner.
I wouldn't fancy playing against him. So's the Kilmarnock fans about it, because he's rolling it there. He's quite happy.
By the way, they've both kind of got each other. It's definitely a corner.
Nicholas Kuhn comes through his legs and kicks it out.
That's a surprising one, I have to say.
Is Vassell the captain, or is he standing for something?
No, he's the captain.
Is he He's been the captain for a while, is he not?
He was captain last season as well. So there's Celtic trying to get out, and they almost do. Because I was going to say, it's actually been a good period this for
Kilmarnock now.
Corey and Daba strikes it, good save. Kasper Schmeichel, that's the closest Killie have come.
Closest anybody's come.
It's a good save because it bounces right in front of him. Difficult one to take. Good play with Kilmarnock. starting to grow into this a little bit.
Yeah, I've noticed Kelly have had him do that quite a bit, come in the pitch, because it's almost like Mark, he's managing to get it onto his left as if he's a right back coming in, but he's a left back, but he comes in the pitch quite a bit now, Corey and Daba. You can see where he is right now. He's on the edge of the centre circle.
Well, he stepped in to win it first and foremost. He does well. He's got no other thought in his mind than going forward, and everything just opened up for him. Good strike, gets in target, does his right. It's down to Schmeichel's right. It's a difficult one for the Celtic goalkeeper. Good save. Good period this for Kilmarnock. They've steadied themselves from Celtic. That shaky opening.
So who do they play off the right hand side then, Gordon, if they bring him in to the middle of the park? Who's the wing back?
On the other side?
On the right side. And it's not him playing the middle of the park, is it?
No, so Daba usually starts on the left. I think is
Kennedy?
Yeah, but is
Daba looks like he's playing as a left centre back in Daba today.
Celtic just haven't got going at all so far.
I thought they started okay.
They started really.
This is a great run with him. He just fancies it, gets his, and I tell you what, it's a good save. And Schmeichel gets that away out the danger area. So a good play for Kilmarnock, good save from the Celtic goalkeeper.
And Daba certainly looks like he's playing more centrally today.
Well, he's certainly not playing as a wing back, that's for sure. If he is, then he's in the wrong position.
You'll see the one early in the game. He did started there. Remember when who went down the line again? Engels, when we spoke about it. Unless he's tracked him, I suppose. From no, he is. Yeah, you're right. Centre back at the moment. Gabriel is telling us from high up there. 17 gone, but I'd lost count. Was it about 4 of that? Was it from?
Nosebleed.
From the nosebleed. Ball all the way through to Kasper Schmeichel this time, who made a save there from Ndaba as he let fly from distance.
Why didn't he kick it up the park there?
Like
he did the last time.
They like to play from.
They like to build a bit, don't they?
As they kick up the park.
He's just fallen over.
He's just dropped it in there.
He just fell over though as he kicked it, so it was out for a throw in. 18 minutes gone. It's funny how the momentum really just can come out of a game when you get a stoppage.
Injury,
It's really seemed to have had an impact all round.
I think it's benefited Kilmarnock more than Celtic, because I thought Celtic started the game quite well, but just now you would say Kilmarnock are growing in confidence.
Quite interesting this. Throwing the halfway line, Kilmarnock not even looking to play, back to a centre half to try and build it, because that just forces or allows Celtic to come onto you. They are just shaping to go down the line, get it forward as quick as possible, and it's working for them in this opening 20 minutes. They've been in Celtic's box quite a few times and they forced Celtic back. We've not seen much action the other side. Maeda's cross and Ida, really about it so far from a Celtic attacking perspective. I think Derek McInnes will be happy with this opening period.
You're Joe going for descent now for the second yellow.
Yeah, Kasper Schmeichel back with him again. There's not really much to report yet. We had a bright start. Celtic looked like they had the bit between their teeth, but that certainly dropped off a bit, you would have to say. Kelly with some better territory. No huge chances. They had the shot from outside the box, which was saved by Kasper Schmeichel. So it's a bit of a kind of cagey one at the moment. Someone's down in the middle of the pitch. Don't know if the referee fancies anything.
Wrestles Engels there. Engels just trying to run off the back of him, and he's saying to the ref, he's got his shirt. By the way, he's got a point, because you see Engels just, he's off him in the next minute, and Ndaba grabs him, stops him going forward. I'm interested to see where is Ndaba actually playing?
Centre back.
Well, it doesn't look like he's playing centre back just now. It looks like he's gone into midfield to pick up.
He does this though, like I say, I think it's more of a fluid thing. This has been happening in the last couple of weeks. It gets to a certain point in a game, and then I assume under instruction it goes in the pitch. But Alistair Johnston has a throw in just about level with the edge of the 18-yard box for Celtic, given out to Nicholas Kuhn, who started well with that bright run. He's had a little quieter spell thereafter.
He certainly tested Hatati's ball skills there with that ball fired into him. But if there's one person who can handle it, it's him. Celtic are giving the ball away needlessly. They just now slack there for skills as well. Here's an opportunity. The one thing Kilmarnock are doing is the minute they get it, they're getting a ball forward quickly.
Yeah, you would expect that, and I think they're going to try and just put one in from Kennedy. It's flashed across, but no takers, and out for a throw-in.
I would say that's not the worst ball I've ever seen. Especially when you've got two strikers. You usually get one going front post, one round the back.
They've got 3 in the box, 4 in the box actually there. I think you're right. I think Matty Kennedy has to gamble round the back post, round behind Alistair Johnston.
Well, Derek McInnes said pre-match, not daunted, and they're playing like a team who are not daunted.
Yeah, Engels is down.
Yeah, and the region it's very
right,
slow.
okay, one of those. Right, that's never
deep breath.
The Davinas.
Yeah,
it's never ideal, and it's the oh jeez.
Never
mind.
Yeah,
you know the one. It's a cross from Corey and Daba, blocked at quite a cost from Arnie Engels.
You just hope the same numbers there when you get up.
He's going to
have a quick check.
He's in a bit of discomfort.
Seeing football, that was all worst.
Everybody just laughs, don't they? You can't help yourself when you see your teammate and you laugh. Launched in Celtic, having a lot of defending to do in the box, and that's what I said about the opening stages of this game. You're going to be able to tell a lot how the full game's going to pan out. Kilmarnock making Celtic defend their box, going direct, going to Vassell, going to Watkins. And trusting skills have stood up to it so far, but you don't want to invite them too much, putting it in there.
Kilmarnock playing very narrow, clearly. I mean, we've been a bit fascinated by Ndaba, but it actually looks like Mark is just sort of tracking Arnie Engels around.
Looks like it,
and
yeah.
Derek McInnes has done that many times, obviously at Aberdeen and so on. Quite likes a man marking.
Don't see that a lot now in football, do you?
No. But that maybe seems to be the role. Kasper Schmeichel, he must have Brendan Rodgers' Tom Fords on, because he's slipped over twice. That's a lovely ball from Celtic, but he just can't bring it under his control, and it goes out over in the corner for a throw-in.
Are you taking that as a compliment, Mark, if you were told to be the man marker? Because you're thinking, right, you're against their best player, we'll just lose you.
Dundee United, I told you, Arteta, I was a man and didn't get a kick, and he got loads of kicks, so it didn't work out for me.
So Dundee United gave up one of their worst players to try and stop Rangers' best players.
Looked at it.
Celtic with a bit more territory now. They had dropped off it a bit in recent minutes, but Nicholas Kuhn's going to try and dance his way inside, just like he did against RB Leipzig, but Killy stand up to it this time.
Just getting plenty of bodies behind the ball when Celtic have got it, making it difficult for them. Celtic just try and knock about, look for those spaces, that killer pass, get in behind. I think that's a terrific ball. For me, Ida's got to be making that move. That is a terrific ball, absolutely brilliant. He sees it, he plays it into the space. Ida must be on his toes to make that run.
I think especially when you've got Engels dragging Ndaba out to create that big gap when it's played round the corner. Ida, you're right, Ida's got to recognise that there's a huge hole there just round about the edge of the Kilmarnock penalty area on their left hand side that you've got to fill.
They've picked up the second ball now, Celtic get an opportunity here.
His touch has been all over the place.
He's not had the
stage.
He's not had the best start. He's not had the best 20 odd minutes. Obviously a nosebleed as well. It's all happening for him.
There's a great ball.
Yeah, it's just going to skip slightly away from Vassell. He still has it in the box, and he's done brilliantly to stand it up, and it just wouldn't come down for David Watson. He almost has to jump up and try and kick it on as it's rising, and away it goes over the top. Would Vassell have been offside anyway?
It was tight, so. It was tight, but I don't think he would have. And I tell you what, he's played a terrific ball in there. He stands that up. He gives both Kilmarnock players an opportunity to go and attack that. It's good play for Kilmarnock.
What a chance, because Scales is outnumbered at the back post. Greg Taylor's never getting back there, and Watson, a player of his technical ability, you'd fancy him to at least keep that down. Great opportunity, great pass, diagonal pass into Vassell to set him away.
Yeah, I wonder if that's something that Celtic have looked to tweak in the last few minutes, Mark. When it came to Engels, he then went for a really long crossfield diagonal, maybe just to try and spread it a bit quicker than they have been.
Yeah, well, they have to do something, because apart from the opening couple of minutes where Maeda gets down the left hand side, we've really seen very little from them. I'm just amazed, I'm just fascinated by this Ndaba Engels. Engels is trying to take Ndaba into uncomfortable position. He's just following them everywhere, which he's obviously been instructed to do. Derek McInnes obviously seen Engels as a
strange, that right? See, when you look at Celtic's mid, I like Engels, as you probably know, but if you look at Celtic's midfield, would that be the one that you would go for a man marking?
That's what I mean. It's a very specific job, isn't it?
Yeah.
Here's the problem. If you go with Engels, you leave Kuhn 1-1.
Kuhn, he tried to just flick one into the path of Hatate, well blocked. Liam Donnelly, corner Celtic. Is that Celtic's first?
Yes, first corner of the game for them. You're looking at trust
I
his
agree, Mark.
skills either.
If Ingles is clever, he can move him about.
Just move him
and leave the
Kuhn
space, of
1v1.
course. But I keep going back to it. When you look at that midfield three, I think that you're sitting going, right, who am I going to go the man mark? Because McGregor dictates everything for Celtic. Hatate is magnificent as well, but he's picked Ingles.
Callum McGregor lets fly from
go.
distance, tipped away by Robbie McCrory. We know that Callum McGregor's in fairly good goal scoring form this season.
Been a feature of his game this season, more so than in recent times. So Celtic just ever so slowly starting to make their presence felt.
I wonder how that conversation goes. Callum McGregor, hugely experienced, and Brendan Rodgers always try to make players better. I wonder, just in the summer, you sit down and it's as simple as, let's start getting you shooting from outside the box. Let's start adding to your goal tally. It's no coincidence, is it? He takes on more shots now, and a good one there, tip round the post.
It is going to be Arnie Ingles, as it often is, swinging corners in with the right boot. Just the usual jostling to be sorted out by Nick Walsh before things get underway.
It's a Kilmarnock captain. It's getting.
But it is more important than ever, because we keep seeing it now, and players then complain when shot pulls are given because of VAR. So the referee might as well try and stop it before it happens. But it's going to go right on top of Robbie McCrory by the looks of it. Almost everyone inside that 6-yard box is low. I don't think that was the intention.
Oh, it's a poor corner kick. I don't know what he's trying to do there. Is he trying to whip it in to Maeda at the front post nice and low? But certainly didn't work, whatever it was. Get another opportunity.
Have they got a wee bit more inventive this season as well, Celtic, for set pieces? Not the usual, just putting it in and open here. They've tried to work something short again, back to Ingles.
I actually think the first touch from, was it Greg Taylor who went over? I think that killed something there. You could just kind of tell it didn't move it in the direction it was meant to, and they had to regroup, think again, and put it in a more conventional manner. But doesn't come to anything. 27.5 gone. Kelly 0, Celtic 0. Don't forget, this is game 1 of our own Super Sunday, Super Scoreboard Sunday.
Super
really,
Scoreboard
you could call
Sunday.
it 6 hours, no less. So as soon as this finishes, we'll get to the game at Ibrox as well, and we'll ask you for your thoughts on the phones. We'd like a bit more action, I have to say.
Yep.
I thought we were in for it at the start, because Celtic had some very bright passages in the opening minutes, but that has sort of died a bit. Adamida took a whack to the nose from the elbow of Joe Wright.
Poor game. I've got to say, if you're Derek McInnes, 28 minutes, your goalkeeper not been tested so far. There's an opportunity here.
Yeah, here's Adamida now. He tests the goalkeeper, but it wasn't much of a test.
Desperation. I think that's a player that knows he's having a poor first half hour, and he takes a shot on the angle from about 25 yards out. No need for that. I think a confident player then tries to link up and go again. He's just desperate there, because
he actually didn't have to either, did he? It's not like there was no one else up in support. Adamida is having a difficult opening to this game. His first touch has certainly been off, and he's had an elbow in the beak from Joe Wright. He's the only player to go into the book so far.
It's amazing that we praise Celtic for their quick passing and how dynamic they were on Tuesday night, and struggling to string 3 passes together here. You've got to give credit to Kilmarnock. This man Martin does is right. You don't tend to see it anymore. It's working. I wonder if Donnelly's staying on Hatate as well. I've seen Hatate drop way deep, and Donnelly went all the way with him as well.
Well, Derek McInnes spoke as well during the week about how he's looked at all of Celtic's recent opponents: Atalanta, Aberdeen, RB Leipzig, and
here's a chance.
Yeah, it's kind of scuffed by Kyle Vassell. He said that Aberdeen played from a shape and sat off Celtic a bit and tried to be secure and lost 6-0, and then RB Leipzig tried to get after Celtic and got battered by them as well. So this is his idea to try and come up with a solution,
and it's up to Celtic and Brendan Rodgers to come up with the answers like they have in those games. They're finding it difficult to find a rhythm at the minute, and that's one thing. When I was saying to you, you come off the back of that result and you're feeling top of the world and you've got rhythm and it just carries on to the next game, it's great to play in. When it gets disrupted like this, you need to quickly find the solutions.
There's a quick one from Arnie Ingles, but didn't have the necessary direction.
Everything they try is failing at the moment, and the big players, the Arnie Ingles, Nicholas Kuhn, Hatate, nothing happening for them.
Yeah, been a bit of a stop-start first half. Not really much happening either way. Killie have not had much more than a long shot at Kasper Schmeichel. Celtic have had a long shot of their own from Callum McGregor. I think those early ones, Gordon, they end up becoming not like shots on goal somehow. That would be the worry for Celtic. That Adamida one goes down as a massive chance.
I think he does not start the game particularly well, Gordon. It was a great opportunity. I think if he moves his feet a little bit quicker, he's easily sticking the ball in the back of the net and Celtic are off and running again. But you've got to give credit to Kilmarnock. They've stopped the rhythm of Celtic. You know, they can't get that rhythm. They can't get their passing and movement. And it's all down to the organisation of Kilmarnock. I think Kilmarnock are looking very good, solid at the back, middle of the park, knowing when to press. And all of a sudden Celtic are just occasionally hitting these long balls that you don't really see with a Celtic team with such ability they've got, especially in the middle of the park.
Going from such a tremendous high, it's almost as if this is anticlimactic for them, all of this today, because they're certainly not looking up to much at all.
See, having said all we did before the game about how
look at that again.
You don't have, you know, Brendan Rodgers himself said can't really use the pitch as an excuse when we've won 5-0. A 4-0, I keep saying 5. I wonder though, Mark, if that then
it was 5-0.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, 5.
Right. I've corrected myself so many times I can't recall which way round it was. 4-0 was the first game of this season, wasn't it? At the same time then, I wonder if you have to meet in the middle somewhere, because also, yes, it can't be an excuse, but just because you've done it once, let's not think that it's going to be easy going down there every time and doing that. You know, it's still going to be very difficult.
Well, again, Celtic were in top form, weren't they? They were on top of their game. They knew they had an end goal to that. And, you know, the manager came out after it and says, we're top notch tonight. They've not been top notch here. So you're not always going to be in top of your games. Celtic certainly aren't in the opening half hour. It just showed you there when Hatate does break away from his man, he just goes to line up a shot and the ball, his touch is too heavy. Again, so
do you think it's one of those fixtures after midweek you think probably one of the worst we could have picked?
That's why I say it all looks anticlimactic.
Yeah.
You know, if they'd been, I don't know where, even Motherwell or St Mirren or something, it might have been different, but they just look miles off it, and individually they're miles off it.
But Kilmarnock know that they've got to keep concentrating, because one slip and all of a sudden, with the ability that's on that pitch, Celtic could just open you up, and all of a sudden you're
that's a better touch
brilliant
from Adamida, because it's volleyed into him by Kasper Schmeichel all the way up to the halfway line. He just brings it down and lays it off, but then Kuhn can't find a teammate, and Daba's surrounded by 3 Celtic jerseys but floats one up. It's a good win, Austin Trusty. He looks game for this sort of stuff.
I'm seeing such a difference, and he's limping there, Gordon. I think he's took a sore one, and Watkins as well. So they've came together. But no, he's grown in me. When I seen him at first, you're looking at the price tag and you're thinking, I was looking for a little bit better. Scales has been excellent. Carter Vickers and Scales as a partnership. But I think Trusty looks a real deal for me now. I really think he's got everything in his locker. He's settled in very well indeed.
Yeah, it looks comfortable in the fight, doesn't he? With Watkins and Vassell, it looks comfortable in that physical battle, and he's got the pace to play a high line as well. He started this game well, but Kilmarnock are making it uncomfortable for Celtic. I think Derek McInnes, that is certainly the game plan. Make it uncomfortable for them. Don't let them, take touch after touch and just pass the ball a bit unopposed. And you can quite clearly see that Celtic aren't enjoying it at the minute. So fair play to Kilmarnock, because it's hard to keep that up. Man for man, all it needs is one of your teammates to switch off and the full thing's bust. But right now, they're carrying it out to a tee.
The problem is, Mark, they can't get their wide players on the ball. Maeda has hardly kicked it. Kuhn has not really been involved at all. I don't know why that's not a free kick. That looks a free kick
Arnie
all day
Engels
long.
tries to run off Liam Donnelly and goes down. Referee Nick Walsh very clear to sort of wave play on, having seen it back.
Free kick. I don't know what the referee's thinking there. I really don't.
That seems a harsh one, we have to say. But on we go, and Daba heads it out to Robbie Dees, who just fires it through, but it goes to Kasper Schmeichel. Robbie Dees, of course, who
he was good for.
We bumped into night.
He was good for.
He was well oiled at that point.
He was the first night in Munich.
Yeah.
He was there with his kilt on, looking forward to the Euros.
Chance.
Yeah, big chance. Kilmarnock are in, and it hits the post from Marley Watkins. It is the biggest chance we've had by a mile. Nice move, Kelly, into the box. He did lots right. He dinked it beyond Kasper Schmeichel, but it comes back off the post.
Well, Celtic are getting a real warning here. The 35 minutes gone, and it's their worst performance of the season by a long way. And Kilmarnock really ought to be ahead by this time.
It's a great move. It's a great move. Scales gets pulled out of position. Trustees in bother. The full box opens up for Watkins. He does look. I think he should score, but I think he's unlucky. He does everything brilliant. Chips a goalkeeper. Unfortunately, he just puts a wee bit too much on it.
Danger not clear yet, because there's a corner for Killie that Matty Kennedy is going to swing in. Kasper Schmeichel gets a glove on it, and Real Hatate makes a real mess of it inside the box.
He's be careful.
He's on his backside and then heads it away while he's sitting down.
Carl McGregor caught in the ball
over the bar as well.
But 7 attempts to clear that.
The bounce in the ball there, though. Did you see that there? The bounce in the ball as McGregor goes to clear and just kind of just changes direction. That's why he's so hesitant. But a good spell this for Kelly, and the move that leads to Watkins, really good. You know, pouncing the ball, work it into the sail back. Watkins runs through, does a lot right. Dinks over. He's inches out. If it's an inch the other way, it hits off the inside of the post and in.
Does this depend on your personality? If you're the so-called small team, you get that chance and you miss it, are you encouraged because you think that can come along again, or do you think we might not get a better chance than that?
Not right now. With the way this game's going, I'd be encouraged if I was Derek McInnes. I think that if it keeps going the way Celtic are playing, Kilmarnock will get more opportunities.
This is the way Celtic looked at the beginning of last season when they were going out of the League Cup at Rugby Park and losing there in the league as well. They are at the moment struggling to actually think of a polite word to describe their performance,
and yet they're still at 71% of the possession.
However, Kilmarnock have had 3 times the number of touches in the opposition box than Celtic have had, and you would not see that very often.
And here they come again.
I think Kilmarnock look the dangerous.
Yeah,
I really do. I think their tails are up for it. I think they're looking to say, right, okay, we've created a great chance here. Can we get another?
Adam Ida needs to make something here. Joe Wright does well. Comes across, puts it out for it's going to be a throw into Kilmarnock as well.
I thought that was Celtic's throw in. Did you not?
Does really well there, right? The referee
changed his mind.
How can the assistant referee not see that?
Well, might have, to be fair. That might is maybe what made him change his mind. I think
Mr. Johnson
got a little case there.
Make contact with his knees. He goes down theatrically, but I think Al Johnston.
Is it the old? He was sort of down already.
Almost so.
But he's prone to that, Alistair Johnson. I think a bit reckless.
Okay, geez, okay.
I think you're right though. Would you be encouraged? Of course you'd be encouraged. I think, had they checked this? Had they checked Alistair Johnson?
No, I think is it Engels? Someone's down yet.
I thought they were checking that. You would be encouraged if you were a Kilmarnock player, because you are going to get more opportunities.
Who's that? Is that Dees?
Yeah, Robbie Dees. And we're just seeing that throw in again.
That's quite clearly assistant standing right there, and
I know,
can't call that. That's, you're in the wrong job, I think.
We're in Clyde Bank, we can see it
4 yards away from him.
Adam Ida's really struggled to bring the ball under control today. It's been a real theme, and he's battling away. He's putting his shift in, but I think he
has struggled for the first whistle, Gordon.
He's controlled it well maybe once. You remember the one that Schmeichel put into him, which is not a high number.
I'm interested if this keeps the same pattern. Does Brendan Rodgers look to maybe change one or two things at half time?
Kyogo's obvious, isn't it?
Yeah. Ida is, to use the impolite phrase, stinking the place out.
Well, he's not. I've not seen Maeda actually kick the ball for the last 5-10 minutes. They're not getting the chance to play down, wide areas and get in behind Kilmarnock.
There seems to be more space on Celtic's right than their left, doesn't there? I'm not saying they've done it with any great impact, but you've at least seen Nicholas Kuhn get the ball worked out to him a bit more.
Switched. Engels is having a wee shot over on the left hand side. Hatate over to the right, try to shake off and dab it, and sometimes that just creates a problem. Do you go all the way over the other side? So Derek McInnes has to be clear with his instructions on that one.
Well, whatever his instructions were, it's been successful so far, because Celtic are going nowhere.
Great touch.
Yeah, it was great from Rio Hatate and his passes.
Get on the end of his own pass here.
It's a very good tackle from Robbie Dees, because he had to get it right. And then Maeda just a bit too much in the press, and the free kick to Killie.
It's been a problem for Celtic that Hatate try to link up with Kuhn and just can't quite get the pass in as slick as they usually do. They don't quite connect it. But Hatate almost getting on the end of his own pass. It's a great tackle, you're right, because if Hatate nicks that, he's into the Kilmarnock box unopposed.
See, as a defender, Mark, would you slide tackle on that pitch?
No, I'd do everything I could to avoid it.
Absolutely,
because
no chance.
What you've got at night is the bed sheets stuck to you. Remember that feeling?
It's not as bad as the old stuff, though, is it?
You still get them stuck to you, do you know?
Matty Kennedy,
no, not as bad as the old stuff.
Complaining of a dead leg or something. Sort of sums Rio Dyson Maeda up. Yes, it was a foul, but he's managed to make it from the left over to the right to press there. I
think he's just frustrated. He's not got on the ball. He's not had the opportunity. I think he wants a bit more action. I don't blame him for that. But I think the happier manager out the two. Well, Derek McInnes will feel a little bit disappointed they've not scored. They've created the best chance with Watkins, and he was a bit unlucky. But I think Kilmarnock tactically has got it right so far.
Yeah, not been many goal scoring chances either way. The best of them has gone to Killie. That one Marley Watkins chance, maybe another here. As Kennedy goes down the line, stands it up. It is going to find a Killie player at the back post. Hacked away, and Daba's already had one shot, but his touch didn't set him up for that one. And Killie do just keep it, look to try and put a little bit of pressure on as this half comes towards a close.
That's too easy.
Yeah, it hits Austin Trusty's back and goes over the bar. Good opportunity.
Poor defending. I don't think Brendan Rodgers will not be happy with that. He takes a touch, he turns, and there's still no defender within a couple of yards of him. Too easy, too slack for Celtic.
I think it's the Celtic captain. I think Callum McGregor should really anticipate that first touch and get round Vassell, because I think Scales is maybe worried. Was it Watkins was just off Vassell, and McGregor allows Vassell to turn on it. It's a great opportunity. Good block from Trusty. Kilmarnock, look, the more likely is no doubt about that, getting a goal before half time.
Yeah, they're putting a bit of pressure on before the break here, and there's another one. It's a dangerous ball in, but Celtic hack it clear.
I think he's got to make contact with that. Is it Joe Wright again? I think that's a good ball in. He gets away from his marker. I'd like to see that again. I think he'd be a bit disappointed in that. I could be wrong, but just looking at it for first glance, I think he's got to do better.
Well, it's going to be a few minutes added on, you would imagine, given the stoppage that Adam Ida nosebleed that he had after being elbowed by Joe Wright and Callum McGregor. Uncharacteristic from him.
Just
everyone
bossed.
else could see that.
Good work from Watkins there.
Killie were snapping at his heels.
Yeah, just stepping back and just nudging him off the ball. Watkins is a big lad, big strong lad, and Callum McGregor felt it there.
Derek McInnes felt his side should have had a throw in, but it goes the other way.
Celtic
is frustration.
I've rarely seen a game this season where Celtic can do absolutely nothing right.
I think it's just this Killie factor. I think we've just seen that. We've seen that, maybe not this season. They've not been here this season, but I feel like I've seen this movie quite a few times when teams go to Rugby Park.
Well, look how brave they're here. Celtic
now
try
that,
to build.
however,
I
is
was
really
saying,
bad for
as I
Rio
was
Hatate.
saying,
I didn't say you were wrong, but we've seen this. This is what happens when teams go to Rugby Park. It's
I'm
I'm
not talking about Rugby Park as being a factor. This is individually and collectively, it is by far Celtic's worst display.
We need to do this crazy bold thing and give credit sometimes. It's what Kilmarnock do. They're extremely difficult to play against.
But there are two teams in the park, and I'm assessing
exactly. So Celtic's bad stuff is influenced by Kilmarnock's.
But Celtic's bad stuff is really bad.
Okay, 44 and a half gone. Killie nil, Celtic nil.
That's the way you describe it here. Your bad stuff's really bad. But look, Kilmarnock, I think tactically have got it right. Celtic have been slack on the ball. There's no spark about them just now. Be interesting to see if it's the same players that will come out that tunnel at half time.
Look how many bodies Kilmarnock's got in the Celtic half at the minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 in the Celtic half when they're building. Now, how many teams do we see that doing against Celtic? You think that, well, that's criminal because you leave so much space at the back. But they're going so high and so tight in them and making it uncomfortable. Celtic aren't using either, or when they do use either,
it bounces off him.
But because he's got pressure on his back, so you have to give huge credit to Killie. But here's Maeda.
A good run from Dyson Maeda, squares it across, and that man who's been everywhere Corey and Daba's back there as well.
Yeah, that's better. That's more encouraging from Celtic. They built that up well. Got Maeda on the ball with his pace. Good opportunity here.
Yeah, Engels with the left. But I wonder if he would have been offside anyway. Kilmarnock were claiming for something when it got backheeled into his path.
I think you might see a Bernardo or someone coming on at half time.
Possibly.
They need a little bit of spark, don't they? Something just different, a little change. I see Brendan Rodgers talking to John Kennedy there. He might be just thinking, look, we might have to make one or two changes.
We surely take Ida off. I mean, you're playing with a man short.
Yeah, he's not had the best 45.
That's an understatement.
Yeah.
That's better from Celtic. It's quite slick into McGregor, then out to Kuhn. He's going to try and run at Dees. He makes his way to the edge of the box. It's similar position. He crosses this one, and again Adam Ida swings a right boot at it, misses it, takes a sore one in the process.
I wonder why he's swinging his right boot at that. Maybe better to let that come across him and just direct it in with his left, because Kuhn picks him out. I just wonder if he just opened his body up. Would you right? Even on defenders right there.
Yeah, I think he goes with his right foot. I know what you're saying, Mark, but I would.
That's not a bad opportunity. It's well done by Nicholas Kuhn.
He doesn't look sharp. He did for me. I like him. I think he's a good player. He came with a big price tag. He scores big important goals, but he's just unfortunate for 40 odd minutes. He's not really been at it, did he?
Yeah, Celtic have not been anywhere near their best. They've started to pick up in the last minute or two, so maybe Derek McInnes would now be the one that would welcome that whistle.
And that last move there from Celtic, you see the importance that if they get their one in touch, two passing right, and they just eliminate a player, they get Kuhn high up the pitch and you expose Kilmarnock, so they need to do that more often.
And also the way that Kuhn's able to come in the pitch and skip away from someone, because that's the whole point. You can man mark fine, but if one player eliminates his opposite number, things need to move around. So
look, they can step up at any time. They've got the quality, but you see Greg Taylor there, just a simple ball, and he overhits it. You know, there've been a little bit of slackness in Celtic this afternoon. I know that all the credit goes to Kilmarnock. I think Kilmarnock are working very well and they look very good, but Celtic, a bit of slackness you don't usually see.
Yeah, 48 gone. We'll play a minimum of 49. There was a long delay, as we told you, to Adam Ida. And Nicholas Kuhn maybe just one last chance to make something happen, drifting in again. Gregor's in there and he just maybe tries to go over the tone and it's in the back of the net at Rugby Park.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Killinhill, Celtic 1. It's either Adam Ida's or it's Callum McGregor's. I'm not convinced the big striker got a touch, so he's shaped one to the back post, the Celtic skipper. I don't think he'd have touched it, and it bounced beyond Robbie McCrory. But either way, it is Celtic. I'd said in the last couple of minutes you could sense they'd stepped it up, and it looks like they will take the lead into the break. I don't think there's a hint of offside there.
I think he touched it.
I do. I think he touches it.
I don't think he does. No, I think that goes straight in.
No, he touches it. That's his goal.
Does he?
That's his goal. Watch where the ball goes. Watch. There you go. Bang. Goal.
It goes right in the back of the net.
Here we go. Here's your super slow-mo over the head of David Watson.
Come on,
it's coming down.
Get your big toe in it.
Adam Ida right boot. No chance. Touches away.
Yeah, touches that.
Listen, I don't know how you can even think it was close.
Listen, do you know what? That sums his 40 odd minutes, because we were all going to be proved wrong there.
If he had size 14s on,
exactly.
the goal might have been
his. I tell you what, right? It's a good ball from McGregor, but he plays his part, Ida. Because if he does, his movement's great, by the way. Just before it, he goes one way and points to where he wants it. Now, if he doesn't go for that, McCrory just steps over and just takes the ball. So the big striker's had a poor first 45, but he affects the goal, and you can just see something building there. The danger for Kilmarnock there was they were allowing Celtic to cross it into the box.
You could, like I said,
and just backing themselves to defend that.
You could sense it just that last couple of minutes. It looked like Celtic were stepping up slightly, albeit from a fairly low bar. No touch there, Adam Ida. That's Callum McGregor's goal. Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 1.
If you're Derek McInnes, it's a daylight robbery.
It's a singer. I've got to say it's a singer. But all credit, that's why Celtic.
Half time, Rugby Park. Here's Gabriel.
Half time and Celtic are leading 1-0 at the interval. A goal in the 49th minute, certainly against the run of play. You in the studio and everyone else at home can decide if Adam Ida touched it or not, but the matter of fact is this: Celtic are leading at the break. It'll be so frustrating for Derek McInnes and his side. They'll certainly feel they've had the better of Celtic, who have been miles off their best. Killy's best chance of the half came from Marley Watkins after about 35 minutes. The forward was slipped in. He lifted it over Kasper Schmeichel and clipped the post. Killy had threatened elsewhere. A good strike from distance from Corey and Daba. Kyle Vassell had a good chance in the turn that was deflected over. And Killy looked tactically spot on. They'd stifled Celtic for the majority of those 45 minutes. They created very, very little, the defending champions. Adam Eder had a tough afternoon. His nose had been bloodied, his first touch had been off, he hadn't quite got his shot off a couple of times when the ball arrived at his feet in the box, but then came the crucial moment there. Callum McGregor just outside the box, lifting it in. Adam Eder making a great run. Don't think he touched the ball, so it probably will go down as the captain's goal. It'll be so frustrating for McInnes. There are positives for him to say in the changing room there at the interval. Killy have been good. If they'd taken their chances, they could have been 1 or 2 up. You wonder what Brendan Rodgers will say as well. Celtic have been miles away from their best, but what a break they've got here. At the interval, it is Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 1.
Interesting first 45. Celtic miles off their best, but they do have the lead at the break thanks to Callum McGregor. I don't think Adam Eder got a touch. We're going to reflect on that and some very interesting team news from Ibrox coming up next.
Get in pole position for cheaper van insurance with mustard.co.uk. With top insurance providers, a 5-minute pit stop with us could get you out in front in the race to savings. See what you could save and compare your van insurance today with mustard.co.uk. T's and C's apply. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
It's time to get the ball rolling on another Terry's chocolate flavour.
Ooh, I've always wondered what a chocolate orange would taste like without the orange.
A Terry's chocolatey chocolate?
Or a Terry's orangeless orange.
Ooh, a chocolate orange without the orange is one of life's great mysteries. I suppose it would taste like,
milk chocolate.
Oh, that's ballsy. New Terry's chocolate milk ball. Deliciously unsquare.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard.
Half-time, Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 1. A goal just before half-time. Adam Eder maybe claimed that he got a touch, but I don't think he did. So it's Callum McGregor's ball into the box that bounces into the net, and it's been a really awkward half for Celtic. They've looked flat. Kilmarnock have been at it at various points, but the one statistic that matters is on that scoreboard, and Celtic lead Hugh Keevins. That's about all you could say so far, but I think Brendan Rodgers will take that and hope for more in the second half, clearly.
Celtic have ridden their luck, and the half-time score is daylight robbery from a Kilmarnock perspective, but I think that Celtic need to score another goal, because I'm convinced that Kilmarnock will score at some point in this game. Celtic have ridden their luck to a preposterous level, and the goal, you can argue about Robbie McCrory, if he might have reacted better than he did, but it is without doubt Callum McGregor's goal and nothing to do with Adam Eder.
I think certainly Kilmarnock had the better chances throughout that first period. I thought they got their tactics spot on for a lot of it. They made it uncomfortable for Celtic. They went man for man. They created good opportunities, none better than Watkins, and he probably should score, but he is unlucky to come off the post. And Celtic hung in there. And I said, if you go man for man and you switch off for a second, like Kilmarnock did, they didn't press Callum McGregor, and Eder gets off the back, his man right in the box, and it creates a goal. So for all Celtic have been poor, Brendan Rodgers will be sitting in there going, well, we're one up and we've hardly turned up here. So that's the positives he takes for it. They're going to have to be a lot better if they're going to keep Kilmarnock into the second period.
Yeah, I think Brendan Rodgers will be happy. Of course he will be. I don't think he'll be happy with the first half performance, but it was a difficult fixture. They've not played their best. They're leading 1-0 at half time. Derek McInnes will be in that dressing room absolutely sick, because right on the stroke of half time they played so well for the first 45 plus minutes, but they need to get something to find their way back into this game.
Two big games today, of course, and some very interesting team news from Ibrox. Let's head there and speak to Andrew McLean.
Yeah, well, whatever Philip Clement did with James Tavernier today was always going to be a big talking point. Dujon Sterling, of course, starting over him in that draw with Olympiacos. He came off just after half-time. Horacio Casemiro replaced him. James Tavernier having to settle for a cameo towards the end on the right wing. You look to today, if Philip Clement was to bring him back in, there would undoubtedly be some rumblings of discontent amongst the support. Keep him out, and that's his captain drop for the second successive game. And would that signal a changing of the guard in that position? Well, I can tell you, James Tavernier is back in to the starting lineup for Rangers today. He's one of two changes. Leon Balogun comes into the back line as well. Dujon Sterling and Robin Proper dropping to the bench. So Jack Butland in goal for them today. The back four, James Tavernier, John Souttar, Leon Balogun and Jefty, Connor Barron and Nicholas Raskin, the two holding midfielders, with Václav Černý, Mohamed Diamandi and Nedim Barami in behind Cyril Dessers, who also keeps his place. The substitutes for Rangers today, heading into this game: Liam Kelly is the goalkeeper for them. Proper, Dowell, Sterling, Casemiro, Igamani, Hadji, McCausland and Danilo for Hearts. It's 4 changes from that 2-0 defeat to Heidenheim midweek. Forrester, Kingsley, Beningame and Danda all out of the starting lineup. Oyegoke, Rolls, Devlin and Vargas come in. Craig Gordon in goal for them. The back four, Daniel Oyegoke, Kai Rolls, Frankie Kent and James Penrice. The two holding midfielders, Malachy Boateng and Cammy Devlin. It's Alan Forrest, Blair Spittle and Kenneth Vargas in behind Lawrence Shanklin. The substitutes: Clark, Kingsley, Halkett, Beningame, Grant, Danda, Wilson, Forrester and Musa. The referee for this one today, Ibrox, is Matthew McDermott, and the VAR is Andrew Dallas.
Briefly, are you surprised or not to see James Tavernier back in?
If he wins, the manager's a genius. If Rangers drop any points, the manager gets it in the neck.
Yes, I'm surprised, because I think it's another unnecessary change to the back four. When you look at the changes: Tavernier back in, Balogun back in, Proper, Sterling on the bench. How can you try to gain any consistency when you keep changing things week to week? So yeah, I'm surprised.
I think there'll be about 49,000 people at Ibrox tonight surprised. I don't know what the Rangers manager's thinking of. Maybe just the fact that he's left Tavernier out, giving him a wee break for the pressure. He's put him right back in tonight, captain, everything about it. I think Hugh's right. I think if he gets a victory, then nothing will probably be said. But if they drop anything tonight, I think he'll come under a lot of pressure for that decision.
Well, we can continue the build up to the game at Ibrox, and we've got an interesting second half ready for you at Rugby Park. It's all coming next.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Second half about to get underway at Rugby Park, and a change certainly for the hosts. Gabriel, anything for the visitors?
Nothing for Celtic, it seems. Gordon Edge is coming out of the tunnel now. 1-11, Celtic look exactly the same from that first half. We have to say Kilmarnock was certainly the better of the two teams. So Celtic, Schmeichel, Johnston, Scales, Trusty, Taylor, McGregor, Hattati and Engels in midfield, Kuhn, Ida and Maida up top. The one change for Kilmarnock is their captain, Vassell, who was struggling just before the break. He's come off for Innes Cameron. So it's McCrory, Mayo, Dees and Wright, Kennedy and Ndaba, Watson, Donnelly and Lyons, Watkins and Cameron. Huge 45 coming up here. Gordon Arnott Engels standing over the ball, and the second half is just about to get underway.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Get advice on keeping infections and viruses away when school returns.
So there we are. The goal before the break just changes everything, doesn't it? We always talk about that. You imagine how the Killie players are feeling with 2 minutes to go. Gordon Dalziel and now have to go and pick themselves up and come from behind.
Yeah, it changes Derek's team talk as well, because you probably went in full of confidence, talking about all the pluses, about how they've created few chances, how they've limited Celtic to few chances as well, and that's all been undone with, as Kilmarnock have a shot and goal, undone by what you would call was a little bit luck in the goal. McGregor looking for a nice ball into Ida. The goalkeeper's rooted to the spot, ends up in the back of net. But look, that's why
the first
Celtic
thing Celtic have done is made 2 clumsy passes, and that one let in.
Here they go though, Adam Ida around the goalie, but it just goes out of play. It was bouncing up everywhere. I think again maybe quite difficult to bring that one under control.
As I say, I do think that Kilmarnock will score. Innes Cameron on straight away, and has that shot at goal, because again, Celtic clumsy in their passing. Celtic are now got a 1-goal start, half a game left against a Kilmarnock team minus Danny Armstrong, Stuart Finlay and Vassell, and that's a large chunk out of a Kilmarnock team. But Celtic will need to show that they can build upon their good fortune.
Yeah, it is a blow, and to be fair, Innes Cameron's already had a decent shot at goal mark. It's not meant to be a slight on him, but I'm almost certain Derek McInnes wouldn't enjoy having to take off Kyle Vassell at half time.
No, certainly not, because it was going so well. I think Vassell and Watkins were working pretty well. I think Kennedy was pushing up to make it almost like a front three and give Celtic real trouble. So yeah, a blow. But Innes Cameron started quite well, shot and goal, and then he a nice little bit of link-up play there from the young man. He's a big boy, so
huge,
physical,
big
physical.
Innes,
big
no
Innes, yeah.
You know what he has for his half-time drink, don't you?
And Maduri, he loves Maduri, Innes.
That had a chance.
Doesn't he get that?
No,
does he? He just went over
fun.
his head.
That's over the top of me, that one.
Right, go home tonight and watch Still Game. Just search Big Innes.
Oh, I know
Maduri.
who you're talking about. Yeah, I got you.
That had a chance, Mark. Is that a big opportunity? I mean, he gets the ball played to him in the box with Robbie McCrory just in front of him. Tries to skip round him. Is the ball always bouncing? Hold on, in fact, because Kelly have got a chance. Saved Kasper Schmeichel. Rebound blocked, and then out for a corner. It's frantic stuff. So quickly, how do you rate that Adam Ida chance a moment ago?
It just sums up his game so far. Touch was
too
heavy.
Do you think he could do better?
I think he can, yeah, he certainly can.
Yeah, I've got to say, we're looking at Kilmarnock's chance here. What a terrific header from Scales. He just takes it off the Kilmarnock player's head there, and then Schmeichel gets down and saves one with his feet. Good positive stuff. Good start to second half from both sides.
Bit of an end-to-end start to the second half, which we don't mind at all. Good entertainment for us. Kelly are just going to in-swing, but again Nick Walsh is doing the disciplinary stuff before it comes in.
They've done really well.
He overdoes this a bit.
Nick Walsh.
Yeah.
Kelly have done really well
minutes.
at making Celtic defend their box. We don't see it enough from opposition teams. Opposition teams maybe put the ball into the box, but they don't promote bodies in. Every time Kilmarnock are crossing the ball into the box, they've got at least 3 willing runners in there to put the Celtic backline under pressure.
Joe Wright and Austin Trusty battling with each other, and it's just headed past the post. I wonder if Ndaba could have done better. He maybe doesn't expect it to come all the way through, so he's sort of stooping by that point, because Arnie Ingles gets it all wrong.
Oh, he should. No doubt he should do better. He's about 8 yards out, and it looks in the replay like he's got loads of time. I'm aware that that'll be a split second, but he's got loads of space.
I'd have stepped back and hit that.
Do you think that's one as well, where sometimes you almost try too hard to head it right into the corner?
Yeah, maybe, and they got it all wrong. There's not a lot of pace on it for a good header. That's why I'm thinking maybe adjust your feet, step back a bit and let it drop and then hit it. But it was a good opportunity, good set play from Kilmarnock. You just wonder how long Celtic will give this before they start making the sub. They can't even throw the ball in the park there. Greg Taylor,
nothing worse when your throw-ins start
just threw it right to a Kilmarnock player. Ridiculous. But at the end of the day, they're still away from home. Difficult fixture. They're leading 1-0, but they've got to do a bit of defending here, or they've got to start getting back on the ball.
Yeah, good tenacity this from Kelly, and it's not clear yet who's it going to fall for. Kasper Schmeichel. Now there are claims for a handball. Kelly are claiming. I'm not sure they seem overly convinced in their claims, but we'll see it back. You see some strange ones at times. Ball goes up to Adam Ida. He makes it stick brilliant. That time. There's Nicholas Kuhn. Oh, and it's a brilliant block. That is a big chance for Celtic, and it goes over the top. Big chance.
I think he's got to be aware that Maeda's standing at the side of him. That's terrific striker player. He can't get it down. To be fair, he's trying to get the ball down. We're seeing this handball again. Absolutely no chance.
Austin Trusty's hands behind him, and it bounces off the turf and up to the hand that's sort of behind, like I say, behind his back. I don't think there's any chance you're in any danger there.
That's end to end.
That's a big chance, isn't it?
Oh, huge chance for Celtic.
Sit down.
Yeah, they just need to get it on the ground there. But well done, Kilmarnock. Got bodies back, bodies on the line. Was it right? It maybe makes the block. Keeps Kilmarnock in this game. Celtic done very little, but they could have been 2 up there.
Arnie Engels, ball in's decent one. McCrory comes, doesn't gather. Is the referee going to give a free kick?
Yeah,
always.
free kick.
I think he's given it on Ndaba, to be fair, rather than the goalkeeper, because I didn't think it was a foul on the keeper. Let's see it back as McCrory comes. Well, that probably was actually. Does Maeda go into his back as he tries to catch it?
I think goalies get away with that too often. I think Maeda's almost shoulder to shoulder with him there. Goalkeeper's got to be stronger.
Protected species.
Yeah, they tend to be, don't they? They do tend to be. But anyway, it's been a really lively start to the second half. Kelly have had chances, Celtic have had chances. And it is going up and down.
I repeat, Kilmarnock are a stick on to score.
I know, but that's like Kelly fans don't want to hear you say that. But you might for once be right as this cross comes in, punched up into the air by Kasper Schmeichel.
Quite an unusual one that from Schmeichel, because it's an outswinging cross, but I get it's really close to him, the goal line. Can he catch it, you think? Or is he just going towards his own line so he doesn't want to take any chances?
Listen, that's an old dinosaur thing. Goalkeepers catching the ball.
Is it?
Yeah. Goalkeepers don't catch a ball in the modern day game.
He has got to catch that.
Every goalkeeper in the planet now punches the ball.
That's chest height at his front post.
Off them. I would take their gloves right off them. No point having them, mate. You don't catch it. Dying aren't in the goalkeeping industry.
It is a bit of a strange schedule for us, because these games are going to come in quick succession. We gave you the team news from Ibrox, Andrew McLean. The headline there, clearly, Andrew, is that return for James Tavernier. It might be absolutely no issue at all. He might score a hat-trick and Rangers will win comfortably. It's just going to be a huge talking point if it doesn't go to plan for Rangers today, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be a massive talking point, and I think Philippe Clement probably knew that midweek when Dujon Sterling came in for him, because he knew Dujon Sterling wasn't going to be able to play 90 minutes. He took him off just after half time. He could have put James Tavernier in that right back position, but instead went for Horatio Casemiro. You do wonder if that was, you know, a plan from Philippe Clement, and him just thinking, you know, if Rangers end up conceding a goal down that side during the second half, would the blame be put on him? Would the blame be put on James Tavernier, even if it wasn't directly his fault? Was it a safer option to put Horatio Casemiro on at that point in the game? So you did wonder what he was going to do today. He had a big decision to make, especially here at Ibrox, where, you know, we've seen rumblings of discontent. You look at the game at Hampden last Sunday, there was a few instances where James Tavernier had put crosses into the box. There was one in particular, I was covering that game, that I can remember, a big looping cross from the right from James Tavernier that wasn't really directed towards anyone, went way over every single player in the box, and the boos started to ring round from the Rangers supporters. So you think if James Tavernier doesn't have a quick start to this game, there may be a similar response from Rangers supporters today. I'm not sure they're going to have a lot of patience, just given the fact that a lot of them were very happy that he was taken out of the starting lineup midweek, but the fact he's back in, I'm not sure if many were expecting it, but certainly I think he's going to have a good performance today, or else fans will be making themselves heard.
It's quite an easy one though, Gordon, isn't it, for Philippe Clement to respond to. I'm almost certain that when he is asked about it at full time, whatever happens, he'll say that, you know, Dujon's been injured and he's not ready to start every game, and he did well the other night, but James has done well in the past, and you can just see that explanation already. He's not going to say James Tavernier is our number one right back and he was always, you know, going to come back in.
I think he'll put not the blame, that's wrong to say, but I think he'll say, look, I've taken advice from the sports science about Sterling. I just think it's unfair that everything today depends on Tavernier having a good game, a good start. He's come under for so much criticism. Now, I'm with everybody that says, is he having his best season? Not a chance. He's been very, very poor. Hampden summed it up for him against Motherwell. Gets substituted. When was the last time that happened to a Rangers captain? So I'm all for leaving him out. Even the other night, he brought him on, Gordon, played him in front of the right back. He didn't even bring him on his natural position. But today's decided, right, I'm going back to my captain. But I think you need to get away from this. Well, if anything goes wrong today, these phone calls are going to come in, and it'll probably all be about Tavernier. I feel for the guy, I really do.
At the same time though, let's not make it about him then, if that makes you uncomfortable. But Hugh, if you change a winning team, it's not a win, I get that, but that's kind of like the feeling the other night. You go away to Olympiacos and you do your job, right? It wasn't a win, but you change that back four if it's through choice, and then you don't get your positive result the next game, it's right that people question that. You can't we can't absolve everything to make sure it's not unfair on James Tavernier.
One of the most persistent criticisms of Philippe Clement is that he never picks the same team twice. I've been hearing it from the beginning of the season, and you're right, it's not just about the Tavernier change, it's about the general changes that have been made, and he will get it in the neck if Hearts, and remember, as I say, Hearts haven't won at Ibrox for 10 years. They're second bottom of the league.
Yeah.
The goal scorer, the captain, has got one goal all season long. Rangers ought to be able to beat them in a canter today. Kilmarnock again, still just coming to score that goal that I keep talking about.
Yeah, it's a strange build-up this. We will keep dipping in and out of the pre-match stuff at Ibrox. We've given you teams, but we've got a big game on the way. Underway. Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 157 gone.
I think it's time to look at Bernardo. Get Paulo Bernardo and Kyogo.
I think he'll be contemplating one or two changes. He's certainly got enough ability sitting on the bench to come on and turn things around. Not that it needs turned around, they're leading 1-0, but there's just that little bit of sharpness not there with Celtic just now. And I just think he'll need to look at freshening it up somewhere.
It's incredible, this man marking job, Mark, how high
it's good to
Kelly
see.
are.
Like
there's so many Kilmarnock players. I think there was 6 there in Celtic's half when Celtic were trying to build.
And look how uncomfortable it makes Celtic trying to pick passes. Of course, you need to be so switched on though. As soon as you switch off, or one of you's behind you switches off, they are through in your back four. But they've been good at it so far.
Engels
isn't having. You can see Engels getting frustrated because he's not getting involved in the game, or he's not been allowed to get involved in the game.
He's been fouled there, so it is a free kick to Celtic just on the edge of the centre circle. But
I think the Kelly midfield have been up in everything. Up in Engels, up in Hatate.
They've upset their rhythm. So for that, you can congratulate them on that good job. But they're still, as much as Celtic have been poor, they're still leading 1-0. So Kilmarnock needs something. I'm not as convinced as what Hugh is that they'll score.
It's a beautiful ball.
Oh, and Adam Ida
he's offside. He must be offside.
Great ball.
Raises a leg and doesn't get there. It's a good ball in by Reo Hatate.
If he's not offside, then there'll be
question mark. His head.
He's offside. He's a mile offside.
Yeah.
No, it's too high.
I think he realises that anyway, Mark.
Yeah.
Well, magic hour mark is approaching where every team makes subs because you can use 5 of them, obviously. So maybe what would the first one be? Would it be Kyogo?
I would look to bring Bernardo or someone on. Luke McGowan. I would look to maybe take Engels off. Something a bit of sharpness in the middle of the park, and I would also look at the front man. Of course I would.
This is a powerful run though from Arnie Engels. He does really well, and he's going to get a bit of misfortune because the cross deflects right into the hands of Robbie McCrory.
We've done the Kilmarnock goalkeeper. He's quick off his line there because Maeda's ready to pounce on that deflected cross. A bit better that from Celtic. Work it wide and then Engels off, running off his marker. Loads of space to gallop into. But again, it's not something you usually see Celtic do, is it? Just whip it in for a wide area. Usually it'll be well pieced together and they'll involve maybe Johnson and Kuhn and Engels in that little triangle. Again, they're not being allowed to do that.
I mean, they just passed the ball out of the park.
Kelly pressing so high, aren't they?
I think Engels will be the one that will make way. I think Kyogo and maybe Bernardo will come on the next 5 minutes, and I'd not be surprised if Ida and Engels were removed. As we can see in the background, I think Kyogo's getting stripped to come on.
Yeah, certainly looks like it. You can see Kyogo getting readied because it's still been a second half had its uncomfortable moments for Kelly. Celtic have had a couple of openings, but the home side looking bang at it.
Would it be a straight swap, or would you think he may just look at keeping the two of them on?
I'll tell you, if he does, it's one of your best shouts ever.
And playing Kyogo just off.
I think it's one of your greatest shouts if you've pulled that off.
Yeah, I don't know. And
it's a nice ball from Liam Scales, and Nicholas Kuhn just can't quite bring it down. He does, he gets it back. Nicholas Kuhn, brilliant save. That is a huge chance. Arnie Engels, edge of the box, hits Kilmarnock's defender and cleared. That was a potentially
That wins a game for him.
Game defining moment.
Yeah,
that's game over if that goes in for Nicholas Kuhn, but Robbie McCrory makes the save.
Chance for Kilmarnock. Slack play from Scales.
Yeah, if Kilmarnock worked it too wide, they get a shot away in the end. But
it's a brilliant game. End to end, Schmeichel has to save, but what an opportunity for Kuhn. How quick is he onto it? And at the first look at it, I thought, what is Dees doing? Because he's hesitant. They work it well, but what a save from McCrory.
What are you doing? Bad miss or all the credit to goalkeeper?
Bad miss.
I think
look at that. Look at the space.
I think it's a sitter.
I think so, yeah.
I think
the other side.
Sitter.
With the way he's playing and his ability on his left foot, he's got to finish that.
Yeah, still credit to McCrory.
Oh,
though.
yeah.
Goalkeeper's
there to save it. That's what his job is.
You can have a combination of both as that cross comes into the back post, but Maeda's the one that spins it up into the air. And then Hatate, but Kelly are just so good at keeping it alive and just forcing it back in.
Oh my goodness.
Good.
I mean, you think how good Rio Hatate is and how uncomfortable he's looked today, and that just sums him up there. Here, Kelly, you're right, Gordon, keeping this alive, right. Keeping the ball bouncing about the Celtic box.
Offside.
He's offside, but they just look out of sorts. By the way, I'm going to point out, I don't think Engels is the best at set pieces at Martin. Now, he got done midweek with it. He's been done by Ndaba today again, and should have got punished. And you just see him there. He gets tangled, and Ndaba's off him again. It's something the young man will need to work at.
Here is the double change then, and it's that predictable duo. Kyogo on for Adam Ida, and Arne Engels off for Paulo Bernardo. Easy to call those ones today, I think. And Adam Ida thought he might have got a touch on the goal that separates these sides. The slow motion replay shows that's not the case. It's Callum McGregor's goal, and it's Killie 0, Celtic 1 as Brendan Rodgers shuffles his pack.
So you remove £20 million worth of players, Engels, Ida, in order to improve the side.
And you bring on not too bad the replacements.
Yeah, of course.
Kyogo and Bernardo.
But
he had to do something. He needed a little spark. Engels wasn't at it today. Ida, he's probably one of his poorest games. Didn't look that sharp. To be fair, he laid on a great opportunity for Kuhn before he gets subbed, but it wasn't really his afternoon.
See, that's when the finisher does you out of an assist, isn't it? Because Ida did his bit well there, in fairness. And it's,
I think Kuhn was
look
just
at
too
this
smart.
passing. Here we go again.
Kuhn's finish.
They're so slack at the back, Celtic, in this second period.
Yeah, well
Trusty,
stood up,
stands up well, but they're giving Kilmarnock encouragement.
Yeah, it's a high ball.
What a
in,
chance.
and someone round the back as well, but again Celtic defend it.
That's a great ball to the back post. And once again, you look how many bodies are in there. 3 Kilmarnock bodies, making it difficult. I think he actually should do better. I don't know who it was coming round the back. Was it Innes Cameron? I think he should do better with a header.
Yep.
It's not, it's Lyons, it's round the back, is it?
Is it not Kennedy?
1, 2, 3. They've got 4 bodies.
Oh, he's got to do better.
He's got to do better.
Heads it off the head of Greg Taylor.
Yeah, good opportunity for Kilmarnock, but again, come from Celtic, slack play.
It is a bit scrappy though, you have to say. There are lots of headers up into the air and second balls, and it's not one for the purist.
It's one of these games for Celtic. Right now you'd be thinking, get this done, 1-0, take it, 3 points, go up the road and get out of here.
And that's why chance taking's so important, because they're clearly bang up against it here. If Nicholas Kuhn scores that, I think we all know you call it a day.
Yeah, because the heads of Kilmarnock would go down and think that.
Oh, and there we go. Callum McGregor's been robbed. Matty Kennedy, and it's saved by Kasper Schmeichel. That's Kelly's best chance in a while.
Great save by the goalkeeper. I cannot believe how poor Celtic are at the back.
Back, it was McGregor there that set that up. He's
got to score.
Yeah, he hits it kind of very close to the goalkeeper, doesn't he? The bottom corner is begging.
Yeah.
He hits it quite close to Kasper Schmeichel.
Derek McInnes knows it because he's right in line with it. He can see the bottom corner just as Matty Kennedy can, and he doesn't catch the corner. He puts it too central. And I think it's a routine saving end for Schmeichel.
Yeah, the hard thing about that, Kennedy's got it in his locker just to slide that by Schmeichel. He'll not get a better chance than that. That's a great
You've got
opportunity.
to admire the way Keller pressing Celtic. No, McGregor gives it away, but he's under pressure. The ball's bouncing about, and he's got 2 Kilmarnock players ready to pick his pocket, and they've done that all game. Celtic's struggling to get out their half here in the last 10 minutes.
Absolutely, another corner. It was a poor one initially from Matty Kennedy, but he will try again and try and get more height on it, which he does. The outswinger, you're kind of relying on the second ball with that type of delivery. And again, Kilmarnock are just so good at putting it back in, but Kasper Schmeichel comes to hold on this time. It's a long direct ball. You wouldn't fancy Nicholas Kuhn to win that header. It feels like Killie players are everywhere, Mark. It feels like any time the ball falls, because it's not like a game of like controlled build up or anything, but any time it breaks there's a Kilmarnock player there.
It's turning into the game that ended 2-1 at Kilmarnock.
Is it that?
Yeah,
kind of looks
very
like that
much
game.
like it when, you know, Celtic backline kind of struggling. They're clearing things but never cleanly. There's Kilmarnock players swarming all over the pitch, and it just looks like one pass and, you know, you're through. If you're a Kilmarnock player, there is opportunities in this for Kelly. They just need to keep Celtic on the back foot. On the other hand, Celtic suck them in. They've got Kuhn and Kyogo now at the top end of the pitch, and Maeda, of course, with electric pace.
Not had the chance to see Kyogo yet though, because it's been all Kelly really since he came on. The last act for Adam Ida was that brilliant chance that Nicholas Kuhn passed up right in front of goal, but was he 6 yards out? Was he even that?
They're setting to every ball, Celtic just now. Kilmarnock are just every time a Celtic player gets a ball, Kilmarnock players are in their faces. But I know what the lads are saying. You've still got to, as much as you've got this sort of pressure on Celtic, you're doing very well. They need to get a goal, because Mark's right. The more and more and the longer a game goes, you've always got that threat of Celtic with their pace and what they've got on the pitch going up and just killing this game off.
You just think, as simple as this is, it's one for Liam Scales or Greg Taylor to get a ball at their feet and just put it in behind Maeda. They're almost dragging Kelly onto them, and for almost 70 minutes Kelly's been, you know, Kelly's loving that. That's a game plan. They've won most of these second balls. They're turning over the ball, you know, time after time. You just think, make the Kilmarnock back three run towards their own goal. It's just not happening at the minute for Celtic. They're always trying to piece things together through the midfield.
The ball is in the air an awful lot, and it just seems to be about who can get it down. And, you know, Kilmarnock give it to Celtic on this occasion, but there's no real space for Daisen Maeda. He comes back the way and finds his skipper.
Yeah, they just need to try and make a few passes, take the sting out of this sort of energy that Kilmarnock have got just now, because they've got their tails up. They're trying to get back in the game,
because that's what happened at the end of the first half, wasn't it? Killie were good in the first half, but then you just got that little couple of minute period. You sense Celtic were coming, and then they scored the goal, and there's Kyogo into the box. He goes down. I don't think we're going to see any further action. He's not even
don't think he's claiming,
he's not claiming too much. He's rubbing the back of his head, but again, it was a much slicker move initially from Celtic.
Good move from Celtic. That's why they're so dangerous. As much as they've not played well this afternoon, you've just got to, when you're on top and you're looking good, you've got to try and get back into the game, because you know Celtic will create chances.
Yeah, here is one. Kyogo can't quite get out his feet. Daisen Maeda's just begging for him to just lay it off, and Maeda had a clear shot at goal, but he got a bit stuck under Kyogo's boot, and then Killie go up the other end. It is incredibly into end this game now.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's just begging to be touched to the side there to Maeda, and he has a shot on goal. I don't know what Kyogo's trying, just to work out his feet. Maybe when you're a substitute and you think you should be starting, you're trying to make that impact right away, get your shot off to prove that you should have started the game. It's an opportunity that for Celtic.
Long throw in.
Yeah, David Watson is the long throw
expert
in the Killie team, and he's going to chuck this one in right on top of Celtic and try and make something happen. And he does. He gets good purchase on it. Liam Scales is always pretty good at winning the initial header, and Kyogo pressing from the front, and this is where Celtic can be dangerous.
I've got Maeda here.
Oh, it's great though. Is that Brad Lyons? Oh, has he got enough of that
ball?
ball?
Maeda's up.
Ooh, that's an old-fashioned challenge. Take the ball, the man, everything.
I was back in the 1950s.
Yeah. Fair play. Maeda just gets up and, you know, gets on with it.
But the Celtic almost breaking there. If that first pass hadn't been as high, I think that's what gave the Kilmarnock players time to recover when the ball was in the air.
To be fair to Kilmarnock defence, it was good desire to get back and cover it. Look, I think there's another goal in this, but I've got a funny, sneaky feeling the way this game's went this afternoon. I think it might just go to Celtic.
That's really brave of you.
No, well,
really brave of you. Really brave of you to predict a team that wins pretty much every game.
Hold on about it, but they're not
game.
dominating this game. They've been off it. Probably one of their worst performances. Hugh is 100% saying that Kilmarnock got to score.
Well, here's Nicholas Kuhn into the box, and there's your next goal.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
What a shout from you, Gordon Dale. You are the man. Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 2, and it's Nicholas Kuhn. It is blistering from him, as we've come to expect this season. Great pace, in onto that left foot, finds the bottom corner, and Celtic fans everywhere breathe a sigh of relief. Killie 0, Celtic 2.
Well, I was a bit more tactical than Gordon Dale's Celtic, fancy him to score. I said I wouldn't mind seeing them just flip it in behind and have runners in behind. And there you go, Nicholas Kuhn comes to the ball, Alistair Johnson just flips it over the Kilmarnock wing back, and Kuhn's in. But he's still got a lot to do. He's bearing down, he's at the edge of the 6-yard box, and he just steers it past McCrory, and that'll be game, set and match, you think.
That was harder than the one he missed.
Yeah, sure. Great play. He takes the defender,
such a good touch, isn't it?
He takes him right out of the game, because he can't touch him. If he does, it's a penalty kick. And then when he's 1-1, the goalkeeper, I think he's thinking to himself, well, you ain't going to win this battle this time, and he sticks it in the corner, probably 3 points out.
Is it Robbie Dees initially, Mark? What does he... Is he too tight to Nicholas Kuhn? He's trying to kind of wrestle him, and Kuhn just runs away from him.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you be? Because for 70 minutes it's worked. You've been tight and you've forced Celtic back, and it's part of the game plan because Kuhn's allowed him to be. But as soon as Kuhn just thinks, I tell you what, I'm going to take you the other way, you've got the quality in the ball for Alistair Johnson. If you're D's, you're in a whole load of trouble then.
There will be a double change for Celtic. Two players who know this task well, James Forrest and Anthony Ralston, are going to come on. Celtic looking much more comfortable now, as teams tend to do when they go 2-0 up with less than 20 minutes to go.
How many did Nicholas Kuhn score against Aberdeen in the 6-0?
Two. He's up to 10 for the season.
I'm just thinking
10 for the season
since last week.
5 for the week.
5 for a week. Yeah,
not bad that. Not bad work.
Yeah, Alistair Johnston off, and that man, the man who's probably wrapped it up there for Celtic, Nicholas Kuhn, off. So James Forrest and Anthony Ralston on, Nicholas Kuhn,
well,
and Ali Johnson off.
If it's not wrapped up with 20 minutes to go and Celtic 2 up, then
just quickly, Nicholas Kuhn only got 1 last week against Aberdeen. Yeah.
Still, it's a fair old contribution. 3 competitions, 4 goals, but as I say, that was typical Nicholas Kuhn there, but it was a harder chance to take than the one he missed.
He's in some form, and you've got to say, he just looks a complete different footballer. He's got everything in his locker, this guy. Great touch there, great composure. He'll be disappointed he should have had 2 today, but I think you're right in what you said. I think he's just wrapped up the 3 points for Celtic.
Don't get me wrong, I know there are physical reasons, Mark. It's been well documented, the teeth issue, the weight loss, so I'm sure it's contributed, but he does look notably faster, like a good bit quicker.
It was the thing that followed him when he came here, that this guy's electric, and we didn't see it in those opening, 6 months. He just couldn't see how he could be, but he certainly is. You look at that, he just tears strips off as it does in the wide area there, direct to goal. We were slaughtering him a bit for being predictable coming in his left foot, but that extra yard of sharpness when he comes in his left, now you can't get near him, and he's got it in his locker to go on the right side. We've seen him getting to the touchline as well, so almost a complete winger for Brendan Rodgers this season so far. Certainly Celtic stand out.
James Forrest penalised for a foul in the midfield area. He protests his innocence, but Nick Walsh is not interested, and there will be
substitutions.
A triple change. Fraser Murray, Rory McKenzie and Bruce Anderson all on. David Watson is the first to make his way. Matty Kennedy and Marley Watkins off. So just a bit of freshness as Kelly try and find a way back, because obviously Hugh, a goal soon would clearly make it as nervy for Celtic as it was previously.
This triple change tells me that Derek McInnes hasn't given up on this yet, and he clearly feels that Celtic are so eccentric at the back that anything's possible.
I'm not surprised that he's freshened it up, brought in 3 players. He's 2-0 down, may as well have a go at something, just change it. He'll be a bit disappointed that the goals have lost, but he's got to go and try and get the next goal as quickly as he can to give them a glimmer of hope.
It was a good period that as well for Kilmarnock, because it looked like something was coming. They were putting Celtic under pressure time and time again. around their box. They just couldn't. Well, I was going to say they just couldn't get that clear-cut chance. They did with Kennedy. You know, as a result of the pressing on Callum McGregor, they need to take those opportunities. That one in Watkins will haunt Derek McInnes when he goes to sleep tonight. I think, what if just one of them were converted?
I've got to say, I know Celtic's defence come under a little bit of pressure. Seeing the battle in the air, I think Scales has been excellent this afternoon. I really do. I think he's won every ball that's went up there, and he knows that he's fighting for his place, because right now everybody would probably say the two centre halves, Carter Vickers when he's fit and Trusty. Scales have done nothing wrong at all in his recent games, but today he's won his battles. You've got to give him credit for that.
I think it's as strong as a back four, and we're chopping and changing as I'm talking here in terms of Scales and Carter Vickers and Trusty and Alistair Johnson, Taylor and Rouse. A back four unit as I've seen in a long time for Celtic, because everybody comes in and contributes. I think the partnerships are looking good. Trusty and Scales is starting to look good, even with Trusty playing the right now. Carter Vickers and Trusty looks the preferred option at the minute. Alex Valley coming in for Taylor. It's looking strong, and they've defended their box reasonably well today, like Daz said. I think it was the midfield element today that's let Celtic down in terms of possession and just being caught in possession.
Well, you see, Kilmarnock they clearly still believe there's something in it for them. They're back to swarming around Schmeichel's goal.
If anything, they're just playing for your credibility at this point.
Yeah,
guaranteeing as a Killie goal, as you were.
Hugh's kicking every ball.
He'll will it in the net.
He's had 3 diving headers, Hugh, in the studio in the last 5 minutes.
I've told you, that's how you get to my age and still earn.
Bad predictions.
Yeah,
is one way to do it. Ball over the top that Fraser Murray will just about get on. Anthony Ralston flicks a toe, and it goes all the way back up the line and out then for a throw in.
Yeah, take a big turn around now for Kilmarnock to get anything out of this game, I've got to say.
Just wonder with Watkins and Vassell off, your main threats are away, Kennedy as well.
I think in terms of chance taking, Bruce Anderson would be up there and maybe even ahead of those, but maybe not in terms of what Kelly tried to do and unsettling back lines and so on. Wow, how's your composure, Kasper Schmeichel? The ball is fired back to him. There's a Kelly player breathing down his neck, and he just pirouettes away from him and passes it out the other side. Modern goalies.
I like that. I've got to say, I like that for goalkeepers when they've got the bravery to do it.
The pass from Scales is ridiculous. But Schmeichel, with his feet, with his hands, he's been a solid performer for Celtic today.
I think what will frustrate Derek McInnes is this is not to take away from Kasper Schmeichel, but they didn't ask a lot of him with those saves, did they? They were talking about the Kennedy one. It's quite at him, and you think that bottom corner, Gordon, as a goal getter yourself, just begging to be rolled in.
Yeah, I think Kennedy will be disappointed. That's terrific composure for the goalkeeper. I think the one that they got a little bit of luck was the first one in the first half with Watkins when he chipped Schmeichel, and unfortunately for Kilmarnock, come off the post. But apart from that, you'd expect a goalkeeper of his ability to save one or two of the chances that Kilmarnock have created.
It was actually really well glued together by Kyogo.
Tati's had a nightmare.
Oh, he has.
He's had a nightmare.
Yeah, Tati's going to be into the book now.
Sensational on Tuesday, but just a million miles off it today, and deserves that booking. Always stretching there.
Yeah, Nick Walsh had a good view of it, and you always know when players stretch, and he's pretty high. He's caught Donnelly in the shin. I think what probably does him a favour is there's not that excessive force there. He's sort of on his way down. Hitati's kind of on the ground already. The classic one, though, I know exactly what will happen. You take a still picture of that. Somebody will send me the still picture for sure, because his studs do end on Liam Donnelly's shin, and VR is checking it.
You've got to think why he leaves his studs up, because the ball's away. He's already made the tackle there. He's got the opportunity, and he leaves the studs up.
Naughty.
When you see it again, the studs are high, so Real Hitati might be in a little bit of bother here.
I'd like to see it from that other angle, but he runs a risk. As soon as you leave your studs up like that, you know there could be an element of
I think the only thing that'll get away is if excessive force.
Play on.
Yeah,
waved away.
But he was a bit high. He did run the risk, but I think it's the correct decision, to be honest with you. But he just needs to be careful.
How many subs have Celtic made? Have we got Ralston,
Forrest, Kyogo,
Bernardo 4.
Well, we'll get Luke McCowan on. Take Hatate out of the firing line.
I would agree with that. I think he's had a poor afternoon and just everything getting away from him, and now on a booking. You just don't want to lose a man in the closing stages of this, and then the pressure really comes on you to defend that 2-goal lead.
Yeah, Liam Scales puts it out for a throw in, about 10 to go here. Of course, still building up to kick off at Ibrox as well for the visit of Hearts. The headline team news is that James Tavernier is back in from the beginning today. So Kilmarnock plugging away, not really created a huge deal since the second Celtic goal. We look to change that in the closing stages. I think there might be another one in the book. Greg Taylor gets a late one from Innes Cameron.
Yeah, just late. Well worked from Celtic, pieced out well.
You always hear that phrase, seemed clumsy more than anything. Is that fair?
I think so. He just bundles into him. But Celtic won't mind this. Celtic won't mind slowing the game down. Just try to drag Kilmarnock out now and then pop it in behind again, because Kilmarnock need to promote bodies forward. They've done it all afternoon, actually, to be fair to them.
Be interesting to hear how Brendan Rodgers sums up this performance. I mean, it's a good 3 points for them. It puts them back on top of the league, but the performance, dear me.
Yeah, but it's a terrific week for him, Hugh. You know,
yeah, Liam Donnelly now booked for leaving one late on Kasper Schmeichel.
I don't think the goalkeeper's particularly happy with him.
Well, that runs in the blood, surely.
Yeah,
no man wouldn't have taken that too kindly, would he?
I've got to say, Schmeichel's been an upgrade, hasn't he, on Joe Hart? Celtic fans love Joe Hart, and he was a good servant for Celtic, but Schmeichel's been an upgrade. Well,
certainly with the ball at his feet, you couldn't argue with that.
But I actually think in terms of shot stopping as well, he's been very, very good. I think Donnelly means that.
A big upgrade in Joe Hart, would you think?
No.
Yeah.
He had one exceptional save against Leipzig on Tuesday night, down at his left hand post. And
no one cares what I think. I don't think there's loads in it shot stopping, but I think with his feet.
I think Schmeichel's brilliant with his feet. We showed it there 5 minutes ago.
Joe Hart made some good saves at Celtic.
Yeah, I like Big Joe.
Austin Trusty into the book as well. Not entirely sure of the crime. Maybe just, was it back chat or something?
Yeah, get involved in that.
Yeah, the Cards had actually stayed in for most of the game, but they're starting to come out now. Yeah. Chance for Kelly to lump one into the box, and if they could get something with about 6 of the 90 to go, plus whatever's added on.
Just unnecessary that from Liam Scales, because never in danger of that being helped on. He was always going to take it in. Innes Cameron, Scales just pushes him lazily. It allows a free kick now to come into your box.
Yeah, what did I tell you? Luke McCowan
is going to enter at some point soon for Celtic as we edge towards that 84th minute mark. Flighted ball, Trusty and Scales have been good in the air though, haven't they? It's obviously a different challenge. Games like this, they've so far, I'm not saying they've played brilliantly all round, but they've stood up to the aerial charge.
Yeah, especially Scales for me. I think Scales has won his battles every time the balls went up there. You know, that's what you're getting with Kilmarnock. I'm not saying they're a long ball team, but they play to their strengths. As we're seeing this again, he's trying to leave one on him, to be fair.
Yes, on the toe. I think intentionally for Donnelly there.
Yeah, I'd be a bit upset if I was a Celtic goalkeeper with that challenge. He's certainly trying to lay one on him.
There you go, Hatate off.
He's playing longer and longer, Hatate now under Brendan Rodgers. He used to be the 60-minute man, didn't he? He was off all the time.
I think that's purely precautionary in case he has another rush of blood and it's a red card. 2 yellows, red.
Quite often make those changes anyway, don't they, towards the end. It's very rare that teams don't exercise at least close to their full complement of subs these days.
There's no surprise in that substitution. Everybody's seen that coming. It makes sense as well. And here's Gary Mackay-Steven coming on. Let's throw the dice for Derek, try to get something. Donnelly, who was just involved with Schmeichel there, he's been taken off. So another attacking player for Kilmarnock. They're certainly throwing everything at it. But I think the game's well and truly gone from them.
Donnelly's another precaution because people.
Well, it's more of an attacking change, though, isn't it? That's like you take a defensive midfielder off and put a winger on to try and get you back into it.
It's a crab end to the game. People leaving their mark on other people.
Yeah, it all been a bit scrappy, and that's a good win from Lewis Mayo to try and set Kilmarnock on. The pass just about stays in.
Do you know, looking at Kilmarnock will probably play worse at home and pick up 3 points.
Yeah.
It's just when you play Celtic and you think that you're getting the better of them, all of a sudden you switch off for a split second and you turn around and you think, all of a sudden we were playing well today and the game's away from us. That's what the quality that Brendan Rodgers has got at his disposal.
Yeah, Kelly can't do a lot more in certain aspects of the game. The number of shots they've had on goal, it's not often teams dominate Celtic on that stat quite significantly. Again, it is just a stat. It's not about, it doesn't mean everything at the end of the day. But if you looked over the piece mark, most domestic games, I just don't think you would see that. I don't think you would see so-called smaller teams with far more shots on goal than Celtic do in a game.
No, not at all. And I think huge credit has to go to Kelly, the players, and Derek McInnes for coming up with the game plan today. I know they're beat 2-0 here, but they've made Celtic think of another way of trying to win. A bit of good fortune for the first goal, but again, it's Kuhn going in behind. Usually we just see Celtic, playing through the midfield, out to Engels, out to Kuhn, back and recycling and getting in the final third, cutbacks and goal. They've not been afforded the luxury of doing that, and it's down to Kilmarnock.
It's a nice little flick from Kyogo, but unfortunately for Maeda, Gary Mackay-Steven takes it off his toe.
He's been poor today, Maeda, I've got to say. Not been at it. I think Brendan Rodgers would just be delighted to get out of here. 3 points, move on. International break. Some of his players obviously away in international duty. The rest will probably get a well-deserved rest. But it was always going to be a difficult game.
I thought Kilmarnock had gone to sleep and let Kyogo sneak in behind, but Robbie McCrory was just about awake enough.
I think at that crossover moment where we're minutes away from Ibrox, the bottom line here is that Celtic and Aberdeen are now 12 points ahead of Rangers, and that puts Rangers under tremendous pressure as they prepare to kick off against Hearts. It's not about Tavernier, it's not about any selection issue, it's not about the fact that the manager changes his team every game. It is purely and simply about that mammoth double-digit gap, and Rangers cannot afford for there still to be a double-digit gap by 7 o'clock tonight.
Are you still hoping for that prediction you come out with here? You think there's still a goal for Kilmarnock definitely score?
You never know.
Right to the end, Hugh. Right to the end.
Would you rule it out at this stage?
Yes, I would. Right. I don't see Kilmarnock scoring a goal.
8.5 gone. You might well be right. I don't think we've had loads of stoppages, but I suppose both teams have made multiple changes. We've had goal. We had that one VAR check for the challenge by Reo Hatate. It wasn't a particularly long one, but a little bit of waiting around. So still the usual 4 or 5, probably added on, maybe even more. So we'll see what happens. You just sense this thing has gone out of Killie a bit. I mean, they've not.
Second goal kills them.
They've still made life difficult for Celtic, but there's just not that same.
Yeah, the second goal, and if you don't get back in quickly, it seems to, your heads get down a little bit. The substitutions have been made. It's just not worked for them. Listen, Kilmarnock can hold their heads up high. I think Kilmarnock today tactically were very, very good. Unfortunately, they're up against a team that can in a split second just open you up and score a goal, and that's what's happened. And you look at Celtic, they've been off it, they've not been at their best, but they still know how to go over a line and win, a difficult fixture.
Mark, when the season's all said and done, you, as good as Celtic are, as dominant as they are, budget, styles, manager, whatever, you can't just steamroller everybody every week, all the time, and not expect to face 1 or 2 bumpy roads along the way.
But by the way, I think Brendan Rodgers will be as complimentary maybe about his team and how they've dug this out as he was with their sparkling football last week. Played close to perfect last week. This week it's been different. They've come up against a different challenge, but have still found answers. They've got match winners in Kuhn, and that's been the difference today. That he can change a game like he did. And by the way, you're right about Scales. Scales and Trusty today, how they've defended their box has been tremendous, and they've had to be, because Kilmarnock have been physical and put balls in there and put bodies in there, and it looks like they're going to walk away with a clean sheet. So that's to be, applauded as well. So you're right, Gordon, you don't just go into games and it's a 4 and 5-0 every game. You've got to find different ways of winning.
4 minutes added on as Kyogo tries to wriggle free. Gary Mackay-Stevens done some good defending since he came on.
He's done well there, kept it in.
He's going to keep that one in, but he can't get away from Kyogo, and he brings him down, and now it's a free kick.
I wonder why Kyogo just gave that up there. Mackay-Stevens did brilliant to keep it in. But
did you play with him, Mark?
I did, yeah, very good player, yeah.
Good ability, isn't he? What age is he now?
He must be well in his 30s now. He must be. He came on up at Dens. It was that 3 or 4 weeks ago and changed the game in Kilmarnock's favour. They won 3-2, but I can't see that happening now with 3 minutes to go.
Is he older than the Motherwell chairman?
He will be. He will be.
He won't be far off, you would imagine. Well, he wasn't. Well, I was going to say he wasn't on our teaser yesterday, but I guess maybe he's not scored in the league this season. So.
Good touch.
Yep, former Killie man Greg Taylor's going to have the chance to cross it if he so wishes.
He's not going to cross that.
He just turns back, keeping it in the corner. Yeah. Game management, as they call it.
Oops.
Yeah, Luke
McCowan it's the right option, but
goes over. He thought he had won a foul. Luke McCowan, he gets it back now as he kept it in. Linesman says no.
Passage of play there just sums up how this game's been. Bodies round the ball, competing for everything. Again, credit to Kelly for doing that, because many teams just sit off Celtic and think we'll protect the space and let them play in front of us. Not Kilmarnock today, but again, it's yielded another win. So back to the drawing board for Derek McInnes the next time these teams meet.
Yeah, Celtic fans, don't forget, later on you can give us a call with your thoughts on the game. It's clearly not been a classic in terms of some of the swashbuckling performances you've put in recently, but as we said, tough place to go, can't do that all the time. So I wonder what you take away from it on this occasion. And before long, in fact in 5 minutes time, we're going to be up and running at Ibrox for the visit of Hearts. A very quick overlap.
Last chance for your goal here, Hugh.
Come on, Hugh.
Yeah, we're all about to celebrate a Kilmarnock goal just so that we can get Hugh a prediction right, but I don't think so. It's cleared away on this occasion. James Forrest does well, good experience. He always finds the space on the pitch well, Mark, doesn't he? He knows how to dribble into that space.
Good players do that. They could make it 3 here.
Yeah, Kyogo onto the right boot, saved by the feet of McCrory, and that probably keeps this. 3 would be harsh on Kelly, wouldn't it?
Yeah, very.
But it was a big chance that actually for Kyogo, saved by McCrory.
Been lots of that today. Goalkeepers are there to stop it, but lots right at them. McCrory that time moves to his left, saves it with his feet, but it's still pretty central. Yeah, 3 would be harsh on Kelly, because they've been competitive, no doubt about it.
Yeah, Greg Taylor's in the box. He's got so many Kelly jerseys round him. Look, McCowan edge. Just curls it just past the top corner.
I think that's the first prediction to Wilson. 2-0 Hugh on it. I'll tick that one off. Good effort there from McCowan, just leaning back a bit, always curling away.
He got the action he wanted on it, just a bit too high, and over the top it goes. So we're almost there. We always do say it's a minimum of 4, but I've not seen anything within the additional time to suggest we'll run much beyond it. Marley Watkins has his head in his hands.
Yeah, he must be wondering, would it have been a different game if that chance doesn't
full time. Here's Gabriel.
Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 2. A far from vintage display from Brendan Rodgers' side, but the 3 points puts them back on top of the table. A goal from Callum McGregor on the stroke of half-time broke the deadlock, with red-hot winger Nicholas Kuhn sealing the result with an impressive effort in the second half. Tough to take for Derek McInnes' men, no doubt. They played very well, had a huge chance in either half, and a game that, based on opportunities, could have easily have finished level. Marley Watkins had the first big chance after about 30 minutes for the hosts. The forward was slipped in, he lifted it over Kasper Schmeichel in the Celtic goal, but it clipped the post, and it looked like he had to score. Killy looked like they'd be the happier of the two heading into the break, but against the run of play came the opener. The captain McGregor swung a great ball in from deep. Adam Eder attacked it, but he failed to touch it. He deceived Robbie McCrory. The ball ended up in the back of the net. The Ayrshire side looked good after the interval as well, pressing Celtic high and making the champions look shaky. Celtic were penned in for about 10 minutes at the start of the half. And Killy's golden chance to equalise came when Matty Kennedy robbed the ball off McGregor, drove into the box, opened the goal up on his right foot, but it was a weak finish. A good save from Kasper Schmeichel, who showed his class at times today. And McCrory then made another huge stop from Nicholas Kuhn, but he couldn't keep him out forever. The German showed electric pace to burst through the defence, down the right flank, a tiny finish into the corner across the goal. And that was that. As I said, tough to take for Killy, who stay in the bottom half of the table, but a big win for Celtic after a huge week for the club. They are ahead of Aberdeen on goal difference heading into the international break. Full time, Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 2.
Well, Hugh, you sometimes have to win in less than convincing fashion. I suppose it would be one of them today.
Yeah, just glad to get out of there, Brendan Rodgers, and have a fortnight to reflect. It was, by Celtic's remarkably high standards, a very poor performance, but the job is done. And the most important point is that Celtic and Aberdeen are now 12 points ahead of Rangers, and that puts Rangers into a severe position when they start the game against Hearts. They dare not drop any points, or there will be massive trouble among the fans.
I think the Celtic manager will be pleased, obviously, with the 3 points, but his team found a different way of winning. You know, full of grit, determination, had to roll up their sleeves. It was uncomfortable throughout the 90 minutes for them, and fair play to Kilmarnock for making them feel that way. But again, they found a way. A bit of luck with the first goal, get themselves in front at half time, and they've had to use Scales and Trusty to defend the box well. They've had to use Schmeichel to save some of those opportunities for Kilmarnock, but then they've got a match winner in Kuhn that ties up the point. So he'll be pleased, he'll know they can play better in possession, but they've found a way again.
Yeah, good performance. I think I agree with the lads. I think Celtic will be pleased to get out there 3 points, and added to that, a clean sheet as well, Gordon.
And how quick is this for a turnaround on a Sunday here on Clyde One Super Scoreboard, because Celtic and Kilmarnock players barely off the pitch yet, and we're just about to get underway at Ibrox. So we'll just cross over there ahead of kick-off and speak to Andrew McLean to remind us of the teams and build up there ahead of what is a cracker. As Hugh says, the complexion is different now because the points gap has increased. Andrew, take it away.
Yeah, a minute's silence impeccably observed at Ibrox on Remembrance Sunday, and now attentions will turn to matters on the pitch. Definitely an improved performance from Rangers against Olympiacos midweek, but Europe hasn't been the problem, has it, for Philip Clement and his Rangers side? Performances domestically have caused discontent amongst the support, and Thursday's showing certainly doesn't wipe that out. These fans will be expecting a performance from their players tonight, especially after what they saw a few days ago with some of the individual displays being very good. The likes of Connor Barron and Nicholas Raskin impressing in midfield. You've got Suter, Barami, Czerny all making their mark too. Can they keep that going against Hearts today, who have had a bit of an inconsistent start, you'd say, under Neil Critchley? They started off really well, but you know, despite the fact that there's been an upturn of general results, I'll be interested to see exactly how they approach this game against Rangers at Ibrox today. I'm sure their supporters, who have travelled in their numbers, will be as well. But for the home side, now 12 points behind both Celtic and Aberdeen. They need to get that back down to 9 before this international break. Cyril Dessers standing over the ball. We are underway at Ibrox.
This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard. The Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast.
With Lucas Volvo. The full electric range is now available on Motability.
Oh, that's Jamal from number 5, master of bin day in the car park. Our group chat would be lost without him. Oh, more Foxfight videos. It's sweet and constant. I mean, what kind of a phone contract is he on?
Well, here at Tesco Mobile, we've frozen the price of his contract with club card prices, so he doesn't have to worry about his price going up. Shall I sign you up too?
Go on then.
It pays to be connected. Tesco Mobile. Every little helps. Terms apply. See tescomobile.com/frozen prices.